Hello to all my dear followers. Today I welcome you to the first season of What If Naruto and Sasuke Fake Their Deaths to Come Back Stronger. As always, if you want a second season, just like the video.
At the Valley of the End, Naruto POV, I felt all the memories of my clone rushing to me, and at that moment I quickly undid my Rasengan and felt Sasuke's Chidori rip through the left side of my body. I quickly grabbed his arm and used my body flicker technique to travel as far away from Konoha and Orochimaru's hideout. Once I knew that we were a safe distance from them, I immediately put up the most powerful soundproof barrier that I knew. Sasuke began preparing another Chidori, and I used my knowledge of chakra points and blocked the ones connecting to his arm. His Chidori started disappearing. "What the hell are you doing to me, Dobe?" Sasuke yelled with a confused expression. "Shut up, team," I growled. "Whatever, let me finish you and then go to Orochimaru. Will you shut up for once and listen to me?" I said using Kurama's voice. At this, he froze. I already had a whirlwind of emotions going on inside me as I began processing the information from my shadow clone. The pain from Sasuke's Chidori from earlier did not help. "You cannot go to Orochimaru. He's just using your need for power to take advantage of you and make you his next vessel. Can't you freaking see it? And neither can you go back to Konoha." "What do you mean? Why can't I go to Konoha?" Sasuke asked, bewildered. "Because as soon as you reach Konoha, you will be arrested for 2 years and will be under house arrest for another year. Also, they'll put you under CRA, Clan Restoration Act. And because of you, I can't go to Konoha either," I spat, with disgust evident in my voice. Sasuke looked at me, shocked. How do you know?" "Because while we were fighting, the shadow clone that I left in the village to spy on the council dispelled, and I received its memories. The council just want you for their benefit, or as you may say, for the Sharingan, and they want to get rid of me, or as they call me, demon, so I can't go to Konoha with or without you. If I go with you, seeing your injuries, they'll banish me for hurting their precious Uchiha. If I go without you, I will be banished for not bringing back their precious Uchiha. Either ways, I'm doomed, so why bother going back to that hellhole anyway? Most of the village treats me like I was a demon. Don't they realize the difference between a kunai and a sealing scroll? And this time, not even Granny Tsunade can help me. The council and the elders have more power than her. Especially that sketchy old man, Danzo, so I'm going Rouge. Also, by the information I gathered, Itachi never wanted to kill the Uchiha. The Uchiha were planning a coup against the village, and the village elders, along with Danzo, gave him this mission to kill all the Uchiha except you, or wait until Danzo sends his Umbu to kill all of you, including you. He accepted this mission only to keep you safe and alive. If you still seek revenge, then be my guest. Also, I did not just come here to tell you this. I came here to ask you an important question." "What? I'm going Rouge? Are you coming with me? Or are you still going to that pedophile?" I asked seriously. "I'm coming with you. I don't know what to do about Itachi. I can't promise that I'll not kill him, but I will listen to what he wants to say. If he wants to die and leave this world of suffering and pain, I'll help him do that. Just like old times, huh, Sasuke? HN. But where are we going to go now? First, we need to get off the grid. Having one of the 5 great nations behind us is really troublesome. TCH, you sound like Shikamaru. And how are we going to get off the grid? Calm down, team. I've got just the man for that. Random place, third-person POV. Calm down, team. I've got just the man for that. After saying that, Naruto bit his thumb and yelled. Summoning Jutsu, with a poof, Gamakichi appeared. "Hey Naruto, what do you need me for?" "Hey Gamakichi, could you ask the Toad boss to reverse summon us?" "Yeah, sure. But you do know that we cannot summon him. He hasn't signed the contract with us. If you want to bring him, you'll just have to somehow connect him with you. Alright, see you, bye." Naruto looks at Sasuke and thinks of ways to attach him to Sasuke. He doesn't have a lot of time as the Toad boss can summon him anytime. So he does the most unexpected thing and lifts Sasuke up on his shoulder. "Naruto, put me down right now. We need to be connected to be summoned together." As if right on cue, the Toad boss summons them. Lord Fugasaku sees them and goes over to them to mount Mayaboku. "Ah, Naruto boy, what are you doing here?" "I'm sorry, Toad Gramps, but I'm kind of in a hurry. Could you please summon Pervy Sage?" "What happened, Naruto boy? Are you in trouble?" "Kind of. Don't tell him I'm here, but summon him quickly. It's urgent." "Okay. I'll summon him immediately," Lord Fugasaku said, and went to summon Jiraiya. Sasuke just stood there watching the two talk and thinking about the conversation he had with Naruto about Itachi. And Naruto was talking to Kurama. "Hey Kurama, Do you think I made the right decision? I'd say it's about time, kid. I was tired of the village treating you like crap. I swear one of these days I was going to snap. Thanks, Kurama. It means a lot that you care about me. PFTTT. No, I do not. I love you too, you big furball. Yeah, whatever. I am going to sleep, and you dare not wake me up, you understand. Kurama didn't show it, but he cared a lot about Naruto. He was the first human to actually talk to him and didn't fear him or think that he was evil. Scratch that. He was the first human who asked him his name and wanted to be friends with him and didn't just use him for his power. I was doing important research. Why did you summon me, Lord Fugasaku? Jiraiya asked. Yeah, right, like peeking into bathhouses like a pervert. Naruto said, annoyed. Shut up, Gaki. Wait a minute, what are you doing here, Naruto? And what's Sasuke doing here? Shouldn't you be in the Leaf Village? We left the Leaf. We are currently Rouge Ninja. And I'll let Naruto do the rest of the explanation. Wait! You what? Pervy Sage. Calm down, I'll explain the whole thing to you. Just listen, alright? And Sasuke. Way to drop the news. HN. You better have a good explanation for this, Naruto. Jiraiya said sternly. Time skipped to after explaining the whole situation to Jiraiya. I knew that the civilian council and village elders had a lot more power than they should. But this is outrageous. So anyway, I was going to get banished and team here was going to get arrested, so I had no choice. That still does not explain. What do you need me for? Okay. I want you to tell everyone that I'm dead. What? Can you stop shouting? You're even annoying than that pink-haired banshee. And I need you to declare me as dead, so that they don't send people after me and Sasuke, who by the way is coming with me. And also could you tell the village that their precious Uchiha is also dead or missing as he never went to Orochimaru. But how do you expect them to believe me? After all, I have no proof. Can't you just tell them that my contract with Toads was affected and the Toads cannot feel my chakra right now? They can feel that they have lost a summoner. You know Tsunade will be really mad at me if she ever finds out that I lied about you. But the circumstances are not in our favor right now. Alright, I'll do this. But only on one condition, and that is, you'll keep in contact. I know that you can't always tell me your location, but just let me know that you are safe. Okay. But don't write Sasuke's or my name in the letters. So what should I call you then? Call me Kitsune and Sasuke. What do you want your code name to be? HN. Nico is fine. Okay, and one more thing. Lord Third had given me this letter. Should anything happen to him, Jiraiya says while handing Naruto a scroll. Okay. I'll read it later when we are somewhere safe. Now that I think about it, where do we go? Sasuke, I don't know. Maybe we should live in the forest like Rouge Ninjas, or we could simply live in another village. Or you two can travel around the nations like me, the great Toad Sage, Jiraiya said while doing his skit while reciting his name to make him look cool. Naruto and Sasuke sweat dropped. He's weird, Sasuke whispered to Naruto. You're telling me? Naruto whispered sarcastically. So what did you two decide what you're going to do? We'll travel, do missions to earn money, and then go where the wind takes us, Naruto exclaimed. HNN. Well, Pervy Sage, we have to go. I'll send you a letter every month. Thanks for your help. Wait, Naruto and Sasuke. Take this. This will hide your faces, so you don't get caught, Jiraiya said while handing them two umbu masks, one of a cat and another of a fox. Thanks, Pervy Sage. Thanks, Lord Jiraiya. Kid, you should learn some politeness from your friend. See you again. Next year, with that, Jiraiya disappeared, and Naruto and Sasuke were poofed back to their original spot. See? Off the grid. Yeah, Sasuke said with a small but noticeable smile. Now let's go, Dobe. And don't forget to wear the mask. Yeah, Naruto was happy because he didn't have to pretend that he was an idiot or that he was the dead last. He was finally free. Near the coast, south from the hidden hot water village. Naruto and Sasuke have been traveling for 3 days with minimum intervals. Naruto had been adamant to go to this place ever since he read the letter from Lord Third. Sasuke didn't argue, because he had heard that the land near the hidden hot water village and the mountain's graveyard were the two places that shinobi did not come to easily. The mountain's graveyard was not an option as going there meant going through Orochimaru's territory, which was the Sound Village, so that this was their best option. The two were barely talking and there was a comfortable silence between them. Naruto had made chakra signature hiding seal tags for both of them, so they wouldn't be detected easily. After traveling for about half an hour, Naruto and Sasuke stopped in front of a house. It wasn't too big, but it wasn't small either. The gates were locked up and there was a lock with a blood seal on it. "Sasuke, you might want to step back a little," Naruto said while walking towards the lock and taking out a kunai. Sasuke simply nodded, took a few steps back, and took out his own kunai. Suddenly Naruto cut his palm and put it on the lock. With a bang, the lock opened along with the gates. "Naruto, how'd you do that?" "Wait a minute, that was a blood seal. Meaning only people of the same clan as the seal maker can open the lock." "Exactly, this is one of the houses of the Uzumaki clan that my parents left for me. The letter from Gigi also had the letter from my parents to me in case they died. In that letter, the location of this house was given. This house is one of the safest Uzumaki houses out there, and this house was also used by my parents, so a lot of their stuff along with the locations of the other safe houses are here. This place also has my clan's secrets, as my dad knew that keeping them in Konoha wasn't safe because of the council, Danzo, and Orochimaru." Sasuke was shocked. There were a lot of questions going on in his head, but the most important question was, who were Naruto's parents? "Dobe, if you don't mind me asking, who were your parents? I know that you have a ton more questions, so let's go inside and freshen up, then I'll answer them." Sasuke gave a nod and sheathed his kunai. After freshening up and cleaning the living room a bit, Naruto and Sasuke sat down and Sasuke was about to ask his questions. But Naruto held up his hand and motioned Sasuke to stop. Then Naruto started talking. "I come from two different clans, the Uzumaki clan and the Namikaze clan. My parents were Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki. They were also known as the Yellow Flash and the Red Hot-Blooded Habanero. My dad was the 4th Hokage and my mom was the Jinchuriki of the Nine-Tailed Fox. Like me. Although not much is known about my dad's clan. My mom's clan, however, was the main clan from the hidden Edi village, Yuzusho Kagure, and she was from the royal bloodline. She was brought to Konoha to be the new Jinchuriki of the Nine-Tailed Fox. The previous Jinchuriki was the wife of the first Hokage, Mito Uzumaki. The Uzumaki clan was feared because of their skill in Fuinjutsu and Kenjutsu. Because of that, Yuzusho Kagure was destroyed in the Great Ninja War. A lot of the Uzumaki died, and those who didn't die, they fled. Funny how Konoha was an ally of Yuzusho Kagure but still let Yuzusho Kagure be destroyed. So currently I am the clan heir of the two clans, which means that all the money and property of the two clans belongs to me. Also, this house has a lot of seals to protect it. In Gigi's letter, Gigi said that the Akatsuki are after the Jinchuriki and will need 3 years to start the rituals and extraction of the tailed beasts. And as far as I know, Orochimaru can't shift to another body for 3 years. This means that we have 3 years to become as strong as we can get. But what about your dream to become Hokage? My dream was never to become Hokage. My dream was world peace. My father believed that I can find a way for world peace. His dream was world peace and he passed on that dream to me. And I will find world peace, even if it is the last thing I do. There was determination in his eyes. But how are we going to get stronger? Who will teach us? As of now, we are 2 missing/rouge ninjas with no teacher. How are we supposed to get stronger? Don't worry about that. This house has a huge library which has scrolls from D rank to SSS rank jutsu of all the 5 chakra natures, along with the Uzumaki clan techniques and Namikaze clan techniques. It also has the scrolls with the techniques of the 1st and 2nd Hokage, at least the ones that my dad was using according to the letter. The library consists of the 2nd and 3rd floors. Quick question, what is your chakra nature? Fire and lighting. What about you? Earth, water, and wind. Boy, am I hungry. But what will we eat? This place is old and the food that we have is not enough. Let's go in the kitchen. If this place was owned by the Uzumaki, there must be a special seal or something keeping fresh food. With that, the two kept rummaging around the kitchen until they found a scroll with emergency food supply which would last them about 3 months. They both had their dinner and went to bed. Naruto took the nearest bedroom on the 1st floor and Sasuke took the one across from Naruto's. The bedrooms weren't anything extraordinary. They were simple rooms with minimum furniture. They both decided to wake up early the next day to explore the library and train. Meanwhile, Sasuke was thinking of a new goal for him, his last thought being, maybe if there was no council and root, his family would have been alive. His new goal was to destroy the council, village elders, and root organization of the Leaf, and then he would help Naruto achieve world peace. With these thoughts, he fell into a peaceful slumber. Time skip 1 year. You do not deserve to live. Die. With a quick flash of lightning, all the 7 bandits were on the ground dead. On the other side of the forest, there were 10 shadow clones finishing off the rest of the bandits. After the 2 were certain that there were no bandits left, they carefully approached the bandits' hideout, which was locked. With a quick seal, they broke the lock and were inside the bandits' hideout. Kitsune, take the left and I'll take the right. If I find anything interesting, I'll seal it into my storage scroll. Hi! If you find any more hostages, carry them to safety. HN. With a quick nod, the 2 left to explore the hideout. After around 15 minutes, the 2 were out of the hideout with 3 hostages, but not before putting explosive tags all over the place. Once they were a safe distance from the hideout, it exploded. The masked duo was heading towards Kiri. They had just completed an A-rank mission for the Hidden Mist. Around half a year ago, the 2 has decided to rebuild Uzushio and sign peace treaties with all the great nations to form peace. But rebuilding a whole village was too much for them, so they decided to become allies of the as many nations as they could. This would mean that the villages will indirectly sign peace treaties with each other. Sasuke had come up with this idea. So far they had a peace treaty with the Hidden Hot Water Village, and after the completion of this mission, and they will sign a treaty with the Mist. Naruto was glad that they were finally starting to achieving peace. Another reason for this was that the 2 wanted all the information they could find about the Akatsuki and Orochimaru. As the Akatsuki were from different villages, signing the treaty with the villages meant that the 2 could get information about the past and the fighting style of the members, which would give them a slight advantage over the Akatsuki. After traveling for about an hour and a half, they were at the entrance of the Mist. State your names and what business do you have in the Mist? A buff Chunin asked sternly. Kitsune and Nico, returning from an A-rank mission. We have a meeting with Lady Mizukage, replied Sasuke in his monotonous voice. Meanwhile, Chijuro, a swordsman of the Mist, recognized them and took the 2 to the Mizukage. After that, he took the 3 skinny kids to the hospital. They looked like they hadn't eaten in days. After the discussion between Kitsune and the Mizukage, and Nico's brooding, they finally signed the treaty. Although the Mizukage was hesitant 5 months ago, because they had refused to show their faces, but after the number of tough missions and the risks the duo had taken for the Mist in the past 5 months, she slowly started to trust them. After staying a night in the Mist, the 2 started their 2-day journey back home. Over the past year, the 2 had grown pretty close. So close that now Naruto understood the meaning of almost all of the HNNs and grunts of the Uchiha. And as a duo, they were formidable in battle. Unknown to the 2, they had earned a page each in the bingo book. The 2 did not detect the chakra presence following. 2 green eyes were staring at the duo. It suddenly jumped on Sasuke's shoulder and started licking his mask. The 2 had taken out their weapons, but after seeing the cat, they put away their weapons. Naruto was a strong sensor, but he did not detect a henge, so he calmed down, though he was surprised at the amount of chakra the small cat had, but decided to let it go. Throughout the whole journey, the cat refused to leave Sasuke's side. Whenever Naruto would try to pick it up, it would hiss and scratch him, and the cat's claws hurt. Once they returned home, Naruto asked Sasuke what to do with the cat. Sasuke smirked and forced Naruto to take it in. Unknown to Naruto, he had a certain attachment to cats. Home sweet home, Naruto exclaimed with a sigh. Sasuke said while walking to the fridge and taking out milk for the cat. The cat had grown on him. The next day, the 2 woke up at 5 and had a quick breakfast. After that, the 2 sparred for about 2 hours. The 2 had brunch, and then Sasuke went to work on his fire style. Fire Dragon Flame Bullet, and Naruto was working on perfecting his Rasen Shuriken. He had perfected the one-handed Rasengan and could do it under 3 seconds, but adding chakra nature to it was difficult. If he lost his concentration, the chakra would burn his hand. He was currently trying to speed up the process by using shadow clones. 2 clones were working on one Rasen Shuriken, and Naruto had 100 clones working on it. He was making progress, but it was exhausting him. He left the clones to perfect the jutsu while he went to work on his Fuinjutsu. He was currently a level 7 seal master and was finishing his level 8 books. Fuinjutsu came naturally to Naruto, but Sasuke couldn't clear level 5 of his Fuinjutsu. He was a level 4 seal master and knew a few level 5 seals. Naruto knew that his parents were level 12 seal masters and he would need to reach level 10 to at least understand his dad's complicated scroll of seals that his mom and dad had worked on, and the flying Raijin Jutsu. He also had to find a way to remove the cursed seal Orochimaru placed on Sasuke. He had fully suppressed it, but couldn't remove it. Jiraiya was a level 8 seal master, but still could not remove it. Naruto wanted to master Fuinjutsu. The flexibility of Fuinjutsu fascinated him. There were 15 levels of Fuinjutsu according to the Uzumaki. The first Hokage's wife, Mito Uzumaki, was a level 14 seal master. The two trained until lunch and then decided to work on their teamwork and combination jutsus. The two were working on thunderstorm summoning. For this technique, Sasuke gathered electrical energy between his hands, while Naruto at the same time gathered water vapor in the air to form clouds. Sasuke then had to send the gathered lightning chakra into the air where the vapor collected, creating dark clouds and causing a raging thunderstorm with lightning, thunder, and rain. This was the hardest combination the two had done till now. They had already perfected it, but were trying to get this jutsu down in less than 10 seconds. They finally managed to reduce the time from 53 seconds to 20 seconds. They had their dinner and then started discussing their next move while the cat purred in Sasuke's lap. So, now we have a peace treaty with the Hidden Mist for 7 years, and a peace treaty with the Hidden Hot Water Village for 10 years. Which village should we go for next? Team Konoha and Odogekure, Hidden Sound Village, is out of the question. How about the Hidden Cloud? TCH, but it is hard to win their trust and they haven't exactly liked the Uzumaki. They also tried to kidnap my mother, so I am thinking about a small village. How about the Hidden Frost Village? Last I heard, the village was in need of allies. Its only other ally is the Hidden Grass Village, and its military strength is also not that high. Also, if they are our allies, they are also allied with the Hidden Mist and Hidden Hot Water Village. And we do not even need to convince them as much as the mist. So next destination, the Hidden Frost Village. Naruto exclaimed with a Might Guy pose. Out of nowhere, a messenger toad appeared on top of Naruto's head. Naruto jumped to the ceiling while screaming, "Yo, Jiraiya-sama has sent me here with a message from him. What does Pervy Sage want? If he asks me to review his Pervy books, tell him that I am not going to. And where is the old toad messenger?" "Oh, you must be Naruto. Jiraiya-sama sent this for you," the toad said while handing Naruto a scroll. "And the old messenger toad is away, so now I am your new messenger toad. Alright, I delivered the scroll, so now I can go, bye." And with a poof, the toad disappeared. Dobe. What is the letter about? Hello, Kitsune. It's been a year since we last met. I have some intel on the Akatsuki and Orochimaru. I can't write those details on this letter, so I would like to meet you. Also, I want to see how far Nico and you have come. Let's meet up in the Land of Waves 3 days later from today and catch up. The Toad Sage of Mount Mayaboku and one of the legendary Sannin. Jiraiya, guess we aren't going to the Hidden Frost. Pervy Sage wants to meet us, Naruto said while scratching his chin. HN. Well, I better perfect the Raisin Shuriken before I meet him. I got it down today. Now I just need to learn to use it while in battle. You down for a spar? Sasuke? No. Not everyone has as much chakra as you do. And I finally perfected the Fire Dragon Flame Bullet. You scared team? Sasuke scoffed, of course not. After sparring for a while, the two went to bed. The two were so exhausted that they fell asleep as soon as their head hit the pillow. In Konoha, at Naruto's grave. Hey Naruto. It's been a year since the village announced you as dead. I don't believe them. I don't believe them at all. Ino said on the verge of tears. I went to Ichiraku for the first time since you disappeared. Tucci and I miss you a lot, you know. A lot of people miss you, but I miss you the most. You still haven't completed your promise to take me on that date after the Chunin exams. But don't worry, I know you will complete your promise. She forced out a sad laugh. After all, you never go back on your word, right? Team 7 recently got 2 new members. I have gotten better at the Yamanaka family jutsus and taijutsu. I also found out that I am an earth-style user, so I am focusing on learning some new earth-style jutsus. I can still picture how your face always used to light up whenever you got to learn a new jutsu. The flower shop is also good, but the flowers are not as bright as they used to be when you were around. You know, whenever you were around, the whole village became brighter. The villagers may say that you are a demon, but to me you will always be my whiskers. You are the kindest and the most selfless person I know, and no one can convince me otherwise. She tried to hold back her tears but sadly couldn't. Just one more thing, Whiskers, one more miracle, please don't be dead. For me. Please. She left him flowers from her shop. And she went home. 3 days from Jiraiya's letter to Naruto. In the land of waves, Wave Country. The two had just reached the Wave Country. They ran into trouble on their way, but nothing that they couldn't handle. Naruto was wearing a black jumpsuit with some orange flames on it and the Uzumaki symbol on his back. Though orange was still his favorite color, it made him easy to spot. Sasuke was wearing a similar outfit, but it was white with blue flames and the Uchiha symbol on the back. The two had a katana on their back and a wakizashi at their waist. They had their kunai pouches at their waist and wore a mask. The two had learnt more in this 1 year compared to the training in Konoha. Sasuke had long ago awakened his Mangekyo Sharingan when he was defeated by Itachi, but still did not know how to use it properly as he did not have any scrolls on it. Dobe, where do we have to meet Jiraiya-sama? The Wave is a big village. Knowing Pervy Sage, he would be peeking in some bathhouses, but he'll find us. Anyway, after our death, do you think that Team 7 got new members? Why are all of your senseis perverts? Dobe, a team consists of a Jonin and 3 Genin, and knowing that Banshee, she wouldn't have made it to Chunin, so there will be new members. I never thought about it, but almost all the ninjas I know are perverts like Irika-sensei, Kakashi-sensei, Closet Pervert Ebisu, Pervy Sage. Hell, Kakashi-sensei used to read Ika series in front of us when we were 12. Though, do you think our replacements will be better than us? TCH. Must be some weaklings. I could easily take them down without even using my Sharingan. Wait, is that Pervy Sage? Naruto looked at a man with white hair peeping in a hot spring and writing stuff down. Ignoring Sasuke's comment, Pervy Sage, Jiraiya's head looked at the masked blonde so fast that he probably got whiplash. Keep it down, Gaki. Jiraiya whisper shouted. I thought that you wanted to meet us, but you are peeping shamelessly at women. I didn't come here to see you do your research, you know? Naruto shouted back with a fake pout. Oh, how he missed getting the white-haired Sannin in trouble. Damn you, Kitsune, now they are going inside. Fine, I finished enough research for today. Let's go to a more private place. The two gave him a nod and followed him. He took the two into a clearing inside the forest and placed a high-level barrier so that no one could see or hear them. You can remove your masks now. Naruto. Sasuke. So what have you two been up to? The usual training and doing some missions for the Mist, the Cloud, and the Hot Water Village. Naruto said with a small smile. We already signed peace treaties with the Hot Water Village for 10 years and with the Mist for 7 years. Now we just need to do something to make them permanent. Sasuke gave a small nod and went back to petting his cat. I want to see how far you have come in training. Get ready to be beaten, old man. But first tell me about how things are going on in the village and the information on the Akatsuki and Orochimaru. Well, when you two were declared dead, Tsunade revealed your heritage. Bet the villagers would be shocked. The demon child was the child of their Hokage. Yeah, you should have seen their faces. I didn't stay long, but I did hear that your team got 2 new members last month when I was in the village. Really? Who are they? I don't know much, but I do their names, Hiroto and Sai. Sai is a level 3 seal master and uses a super beast scroll to make his drawings come to life. He is also an earth-style user. He is one of Danzo's prized umbu. Hiroto is a fire-style user and he is also good in taijutsu. And Sakura is training under Tsunade in medical ninjutsu. Now about the Akatsuki, they know that you are alive. They know that the Nine Tails is alive and has not been released, so be careful. About Orochimaru, I found out the locations of 2 of his hideouts and searched them but found nothing except that he is working with Danzo. TCH. What a bunch of weaklings. I completed level 4 Fuinjutsu and know most of the level 5 seals. And a super beast scroll is just useless against my wakizashi. And it is impossible to defeat an Uchiha in fire style. They are disrespecting us by replacing us with such weaklings. And also the sand has a new Kazekage. Jiraiya smirked. Gaara. What? Naruto's eyes looked like they were going to fall out. Gaara is the new Kazekage. Wait. This just makes our work easy. We can get a peace treaty with the sand, now that they finally have a Kage. Sasuke gave a small nod, showing that he is paying attention. Now enough talking, Naruto. I didn't just come here to chat. I want to see how strong you two have gotten. Jiraiya took a toad taijutsu stance opposite Naruto and Sasuke. You two against me. Now, get ready, old man. I have improved a lot, you know. Naruto said while getting in the Uzumaki stance that he had improved. Sasuke got into the Uchiha taijutsu stance as that suited his Sharingan better. The Sharingan in his eyes flared while the cat went up on the nearby tree. Don't hold back, Jiraiya said while aiming a punch at Sasuke. Sasuke quickly dodged and went for a kick. Till then Jiraiya had already disappeared and was in a fierce taijutsu battle with Naruto. He landed a hit in Naruto's stomach and was going for a kick to his side. But at the last minute, Naruto poofed away and Sasuke yelled, "Fire style. Fire dragon flame bullet." 3 fire dragons attacked from each side. He simply substituted himself. That was a B-ranked jutsu, and Sasuke did it in under a minute. Impressive. Jiraiya thought to himself. Naruto and Sasuke were standing side by side. Suddenly Jiraiya shouted, "Fire style. Toad flame bullet. Earth style." Mud wall. Naruto defended, but his back was open and saw Jiraiya coming at him but blocked his blow. To have erected such a strong wall and blocked my punch. Such speed. He has become much more powerful than the last time we sparred. My attack did not even leave a mark on his mud wall. You never cease to surprise me, Naruto. Sasuke ran to Naruto's side and nodded to him. Naruto knew what this meant. They would not last if they fought alone. They had to fight together with combined attacks. The two continued on engaging Jiraiya in taijutsu but only managed to land a few hits compared to Jiraiya's. The two jumped back and began the hand seals of their latest defensive combination jutsu, the Great Intense Fire Dragon. Sasuke shot off a very powerful fire dragon and Naruto intensified it up to 3 times with his blast of wind. Jiraiya had not expected the two to have learnt such a powerful combination. Nevertheless, he survived, but barely. If he had even wasted a second, he would have taken damage. The two have improved at a very fast rate. Normal shinobi would have taken years to come this far. These two are easily Jonin-level shinobi. I need to end this quickly. With that Jiraiya yelled, "Ninja art. Toad mouth trap," and trapped the two by their feet inside the esophagus. Well, you two have improved a lot. Your teamwork is flawless and your speed is amazing. But Sasuke, you have the Sharingan still. You need to work on your Genjutsu. In the whole fight, you didn't use Genjutsu on me even once, and Naruto, you need to keep your guard up at all times. Whenever you launch a big jutsu, you let down your guard a little bit. You two are easily Jonin-level shinobi, Jiraiya said with a proud smile. He visited them every time he was near and helped them with some jutsus. He also gave Naruto the idea to add a chakra nature to his Rasengan. By the way, Pervy Sage, we were holding back a little. I recently finished the Rasen Shuriken, Naruto said while he summoned a shadow clone and made a Rasen Shuriken. He then shot it off towards his previous mud wall and it crumbled to dust. How is it? That is jutsu is really powerful. To think you achieved this at such a young age. This was something Minato always tried to do, but he couldn't complete it. Sasuke, what about you? Jiraiya-sama. Naruto stepped back at least 3 meters from me. The two jumped 5 meters from Sasuke. Chidori stream. The air within the 3-meter radius of Sasuke became highly electrified. This jutsu temporarily paralyzes shinobi in a 3-meter radius. After the jutsu was over, he unsheathed his wakizashi. He preferred his wakizashi because unlike his katana, he could wield it with one hand, and made a deep cut on his palm. After that, his other hand glowed a shade of green and started healing his palm. I also decided to learn medical ninjutsu because Naruto and I frequently got injured and the bandages take too much time to heal. My chakra control is really good, so it did not take me long to learn it. That is very impressive, Sasuke. If you continue to train like this, you and Naruto might become one of the most feared and strongest shinobi of your time. I agree with Jiraiya-sama. The cat spoke. Whattt Naruto was surprised. Shock was evident on the Uchiha's face, but he was more composed as compared to Naruto. Jiraiya was not surprised at all. In fact, he knew that the cat was a summon. Allow me to explain, Sasuke-sama. I am Kara. I was sent to see if you were worthy of signing the summoning contract with the cats. We have been summons for the Uchiha for a long time. After watching your fight, I have decided that you are worthy of signing the contract with us. If you accept, we will even train you in using your Sharingan. But for that, you will have to come to Soraku and train with us for 7 months. Don't worry. The Leaf will not know anything about this. Do you accept? Now that I think about it, I need to teach Naruto how to control the Ninetales. So while you're with the cats, I will take Naruto on a training trip. I accept your offer, Kara. Naruto, don't hurt yourself too much while I am gone. After all, I will not be there to heal you. Don't worry about me. Just train your fancy eyes to their maximum potential. Sasuke's eyebrows slightly twitched, but knowing the stubborn blonde, he decided not to waste his energy. Fine. See you 7 months later, team. Don't miss me too much. Don't worry, I won't miss you at all. See you later, Dobe, Sasuke said with a smirk. Training Ground 3. The morning before the Chunin exam finals. Flashback. Naruto was having second thoughts about the fight. He doubted himself. He didn't know if he could defeat the Hyuga prodigy. After all, he was the strongest genin. He had come here to clear his mind. He knew that he could not train before a fight, as wasting his stamina would decrease his chance of winning. He was currently leaning the wooden pole where he was tied during Kakashi's bell test with his eyes closed. He was so busy thinking that he did not hear the platinum blonde Yamanaka approaching him. She leaned on the pole next to Naruto's while looking at him. You know, Ichiraku Ramen has special discounts because of the Chunin exams. I thought you'd be there, Ino said, smiling. Naruto slightly jumped after hearing her voice. He was surprised to see her, as he didn't sense her coming. He composed himself before replying. I am going to Ichiraku later, before the fight. Can't fight on an empty stomach now, can I? Hey, you seem down. Something on your mind? Ino had noticed the grimness in his voice. Naruto gave a small nod. Just worried. What if can't defeat Neji? I mean, I promised to beat the crap out of him, but what if I am not strong enough? But you will, Whiskers, you have trained hard for the past month. And if there is anyone who can defeat him, it's you. Just believe in yourself. You know, having confidence is winning half the battle. But how can you be so sure? Because I know that you will give it all you've got. Because I know that you will rather die than give up. Because I believe in you, and I believe that you will find out a way to defeat Neji. After Ino said those words, Naruto felt all the doubt he had earlier disappear. Those simple words gave him confidence that he had longed to find. He now believed that he could and would defeat Neji. He pulled Ino into a hug and whispered in her ear, "Thank you, Ino-chan," while burying his head in the crook of her neck. Ino was surprised when she felt Naruto hug her. As soon as she felt his breath on her neck, she blushed a shade of crimson that she didn't even know existed. Unable to form words, she simply returned the hug. He suddenly broke the hug, much to Ino's disappointment, and jumped on one of the wooden pole and then shouted, "I am going to beat the crap out of you, Neji, so you better be ready, Databeo. You know, Ino-chan, I'm heading towards Ichiraku now. You want to come? My treat. For cheering me up. There's the loud-mouthed, unpredictable knucklehead ninja I know. You better beat the crap out of him. He's always going on about fate and destiny. I sometimes prefer the whole Lee and Gaisensa drama over his meaningless rants." She then looked at Naruto with an apologetic smile. "Sorry, Naruto, I need to meet team in 10 minutes. We are going to the Chunin exams together." Naruto shuddered at the mention of the youthful duo and frowned a bit. As soon as Ino noticed his frown, she replied, "Don't think that you're getting out of treating me." "No, of course not. Actually, after the Chunin exams, I'll take you out on a date, I promise." Naruto accidentally replaced the word treat with date. As soon as he realized what he said, he slightly blushed. The tips of his ears became as red as Sasuke's Sharingan. As soon as Ino heard what he said, she blushed a bit before responding. "Why, yeah, and it better be someplace other than Ichiraku. We have gone there so many times that I've lost count. I don't want to just sit there until you finish your 50 bowls of ramen while people stare at us." She slightly pouted. She gathered all her courage and pecked Naruto on the cheek and said, "I need to go. But I'm rooting for you, Naruto. I hope you win." With that, she left him alone with his thoughts. Naruto was speechless and could barely contain his happiness. Ino had just made this day one of the best days in his life. Flashback end. A few hours before Sasuke's return, the Uzumaki safe house. Naruto was waiting for Sasuke to return. He was currently pacing in front of the gates of the Uzumaki estate. Kitsune, stop pacing. It isn't going to make Nico arrive earlier. Jiraiya scolded Naruto from under the tree he was leaning against. Oh, how he just wanted to visit the hot springs of the hot water country to do some research. I can't help it, pervy sage. He's supposed to arrive today and with my ramen-chan. Naruto was clearly just excited to see his ramen, or the food of the gods, as he called it. He had heard that there was a ramen stand in Soraku with amazing ramen and wanted to taste it ever since. 4 hours later. He is late. Naruto's eyebrow was slightly twitching. He hadn't eaten anything for the past 7 hours because Sasuke was going to arrive with his ramen, and he wanted to savor it. A few minutes later, he sensed 2 familiar chakra signatures heading towards them, and immediately recognized them, Sasuke and Kara. He started working on his barrier so no one could see or hear them. The barrier was activated as soon as Sasuke and Kara entered it. You're late. Here we go again, the white-haired Sannin muttered under his breath. Hello to you too. Dobe Sasuke removed his mask and smirked. Oh, sorry. Hello, team. Now stop smirking and give me my ramen. Achin. Your ramen is sealed inside the special scroll which preserves and keeps food warm, Sasuke said while removing a scroll from inside his jacket. I know, I made it. Naruto deadpanned. Sasuke activated his Mangekyo Sharingan. And now it's going to burn. Amaterasu. The scroll burst into black flames and turned to ash almost immediately. Those are the same flames that Itachi used to escape my toad mouth trap all those years ago. So the cats helped him train his eyes, and to have learnt it at such a young age is just brilliant. Jiraiya thought from under his tree. TME. Why would you do that? Do you know how long I have been waiting for my ramen-chan? And you just burned them. How cruel are you? I thought of you as my brother, but you betrayed me? I haven't eaten for 7 hours and you burnt my ramen-chan. Sasuke burst out laughing. Relax, Dobe. It was an old useless scroll as to why I did it, just for my entertainment purposes. You didn't think I actually burnt your ramen, did you? After you almost cut my fingers off one time. I know not to come between you and your ramen. Here, Sasuke said, handing him the scroll he had just removed from his pouch. Bastard! Naruto glared at Sasuke, who just smirked back at him, before snatching the scroll that contained his ramen and going towards the house, baby talking to his ramen. Sasuke just walked towards where Jiraiya was. Long time no see, Sasuke. Man, I wonder if that Gaki loves anything more than ramen. He ate ramen in every single town we visited. HN. Sasuke gave a small nod. You get used to it after a while. So, how strong has Naruto gotten? Stronger. The Nine Tails has given him access to 4 tails of his power. The Nine Tails tried to add 1 more tail of chakra, but Naruto's body cannot handle it. He has suggested Naruto to wait for a year and master the 4 tails, before opening the whole seal and gaining access to all of Kurama's chakra. How about you? What all did you accomplish with the cats? The cats have a lot of scrolls on the Sharingan, so I trained my Mangekyo Sharingan with them. They also have an old cat with Mangekyo Sharingan in her eyes, gifted to her by the Uchiha, so helped train my eyes. Jiraiya's expression suddenly turned to a serious one. Sasuke, I have been meaning to talk to you. Even though the Nine Tails and Naruto are friends and the Nine Tails is going to give him chakra of his own free will, the chakra is too powerful to handle, and even the Nine Tails cannot stop him if he goes on a rampage. And if the 5th tail comes out, Naruto will feel overwhelmed with the power and will let his emotions take control of him. I know you know how it feels. After all, you have Orochimaru's curse mark. So if and when the 5th tail appears, I want you to put this seal on him. The 4th Hokage made a few of these long ago with his wife so that if the seal loosened, they could control the 9 tails, Jiraiya said while handing Sasuke 3 seal tags. Don't worry, I won't let that happen. He knew what effect power could have on one's mind. He himself was once blinded by the need for power and his emotions once, which is why he wanted to go to Orochimaru. But now he regrets even considering that. Has this ever happened before? No, but better safe than sorry. Anyway, I need to leave. I need to gather intel for the leaf. I'll keep you updated if I find anything about the Akatsuki or Orochimaru. See you later and don't let him eat too much ramen, Jiraiya said while taking his leave. 3 weeks later, the two were at the gates of the hidden sand. State your business in the sand and your village. One of the guards asked the two. We are here to meet the Kazekage. Naruto spoke in a calm tone. Kazekage-sama is busy and does not have time to meet you. Busy? Doing what, paperwork? Tell him that his first friend is here, so see him. As soon as Gaara heard of his first friend, he immediately thought about Naruto. He was told that Naruto died, but still had hope as they did not manage to find his body. He rushed to the gates on his hovering sand platform. Hey Gaara, long time no see? Now do not mention my name at all. Actually, we would like to discuss something with you in private. Yes, follow me. As soon as the three reached Gaara's office, Gaara dismissed all the Umbu and Naruto immediately put up his barrier. Naruto, who else? Naruto replied, taking off his mask. There was a smile on his face. And who is your companion? Sasuke. Uchiha. Sasuke said, taking off his mask. Explain, Gaara said with a curious look on his face. 30 minutes later, after explaining everything to Gaara and Naruto talking about the ramen from Soraku. So you want me to sign a peace treaty with you? Yes, I can sign it, but only for a few months or a year max. I was recently made the Kazekage and I can't make huge decisions like these without consulting the council, and to be honest, I don't think that they will trust two people that wear masks and hide their identity. You will need to earn their trust. Fine. Well, we'll do whatever we have to do to earn their trust. Right, Sasuke? Sasuke never really liked discussing politics, so he always let Naruto handle it. He only answered when asked a question or to correct Naruto. I think I have a solution. We need 2 bodyguards for the Kage booth during the Chunin exam finals that are happening in a few months. And it will definitely help if you persuade the hidden mist to participate. Then there might not be a problem to sign a long-term treaty with you. Okay. Are any of the people we know participating from the hidden leaf? Naruto asked, secretly hoping that Ino was participating. Actually, Kiba, Hinata, Shino, Sakura, Sai, Hiroto, Choji, Ino and Tenten are participating. Niji was promoted to Jonin and Rock Lee was promoted to Chunin earlier this year. I think we should accept the offer. We can also gather info on the military strength of the villages participating. Sasuke whispered to Naruto. We accept the offer, Gaara. Guess I will be completing that promise of taking you out on a date after the Chunin exams after all, Ino-chan. He thought to himself before continuing to catch up with Gaara. In the hidden sand village, Tsunade, you don't have to do this. A masked blonde yelled, blocking the raven's hit. I am not going to let you talk me out of this like last time. He threw another punch, aiming for the blonde's face. The blonde caught the punch and kneed the raven's chin. As soon as the raven was distracted, he put as much distance as he could between them. Nico, I don't want to hurt you. Please reconsider. He yelled, getting far away from Nico. I said no. Fire style. Fire dragon flame bullet. 3 fire dragons surrounded Kitsune. You leave me no choice. Earth style. Multi-mud wall. Huge mud walls emerged from underneath the sand, defending him from all 3 of the dragons. You're so predictable, Kitsune, Nico said as he appeared behind him in a blink of an eye. Chidori. Sunbon. The raven shouted and 100 needles made up of lightning chakra attacked Kitsune from his rear. Wind style. Great breakthrough. Kitsune breathed out a gust of chakra-enhanced wind from his mouth and managed to blow away most of the senbons, but missed one, which sliced his arm. The wind was so powerful that it almost made Nico fall, but he managed to stay standing. After seeing that one of his needles sliced the blonde, the raven slightly smirked under his mask. Come on, Kitsune. Don't just defend against my attacks, or are you too scared to go on offense? Before Kitsune could retaliate with an insult, Nico had already prepared for his next move. Fire style. Great flame flower. He exclaimed, spitting a multitude of fireballs in the air. The only thought going through Kitsune's head was, oh shit! He knew that these fireballs could easily break his earth-style walls easily, so he did the only thing that came to his mind, earth-style. Hiding like a mole jutsu, he disappeared under the ground, digging as deep as he could. He knew that the fireballs would cause great destruction and create craters, so it was better to hide as deep as he could. All the genins participating in the Chunin exams were watching. They were woken up by the sound of explosions and had come to look for the source, and they found the two fighting. The nearby sand ninja also joined the crowd of spectators. The ninjas watched in awe at the display of strength of the two. Even the elite jonin and the umbu just shivered at the thought of going against one of them. They would be lucky if they got out alive, so they didn't dare interfere. Kitsune appeared in front of Nico after his jutsu was nullified and decided to go on offense. Water style, water dragon bullet. He used the water vapor in the air to create a water dragon. He had learnt this technique a few months ago from the second Hokage's scroll that his father had borrowed and was in the Uzumaki safe house. He was maneuvering the dragon towards Nico. The ninjas watched in awe as Kitsune created a whole water dragon out of nowhere. The sand didn't really have a huge water source, and the jutsu required a water body nearby to work. Nico activated his Sharingan and unsheathed his Wakizashi and channeled lightning chakra into it, which cut through the dragon, dividing it into two. Kitsune already predicted this and was prepared. As soon as the water dragon was split into two, it turned into water bullets and attacked Nico's back. He managed to dodge a few but still took damage. He charged towards Kitsune with his Wakizashi in one hand. The blonde unsheathed his katana and channeled wind chakra into it. He engaged Nico in a kenjutsu battle. Sparks flew as the blades collided. This went on for a while, both of them landing minor hits on each other. After some time, Kitsune found an opening on Nico's side. He attacked, but Nico was counting on it. As soon as the blonde went in for the strike, the raven elegantly slid his blade under Kitsune's and parried with so much force that the blade flew from Kitsune's hand and landed in the sand, away from Kitsune's reach. Multi-shadow clone jutsu. Around 50 shadow clones of Kitsune appeared, surrounding Nico in a circle. Chidori stream. Nico yelled, ramming his Wakizashi into the sand, zapping all of Kitsune's clones by electrifying the air within his 4-meter radius. To his surprise, Kitsune was not among them. His eyes widened when he realized Kitsune had planned all of this by driving his sword into the sand. He had practically given away his location. Before he could jump away, a hand pulled him downwards, burying him into the sand, leaving only his head above it. Earth style, double suicide decapitation technique, said the blonde, as he appeared from underneath the sand. He unsheathed his tanto and put the blade inches away from Nico's neck. I win, the blonde smirked from underneath his mask. Fine, we can have ramen for lunch. Now put that blade away, the raven said with a sigh. You know, if you had said yes to having ramen for lunch, none of this would have happened. The blonde said while sheathing his blade. I even gave you an option to reconsider. The raven said while getting out of the sand. Oh, how he wanted to eat his favorite onigiri rice balls, with okaka, dried, fermented and smoked tuna. But now he had to settle for tomato ramen. He started healing his wounds and bruises with his medical ninjutsu. Meanwhile, Kitsune was happy that he got to eat ramen and he defeated Sasuke. He let Kurama heal his wounds. The crowd just sweat dropped after they learnt that the two had fought such a large battle just to decide what to eat. The genins were just relieved that they were not participating in the Chunin exam finals taking place tomorrow. As soon as the two turned to the crowd, Naruto's azure blue eyes found a certain Yamanaka's ice blue. They stared at each other for what seemed as hours but were just seconds in the real world. They broke the eye contact when suddenly, in a swirl of sand, the Kazekage appeared. Kitsune, Nico, this is the 12th training ground that you have destroyed. What was the fight about? Gaara asked Naruto and Sasuke. Dobe wanted to eat ramen, but I wanted to eat onigiri and okaka. I see. Who won? Me, of course. Hey Gaara, wanna join us for lunch? Naruto asked. Sure. The trio shunshined away to the best ramen shop in Suna. With Ino, she was thinking about the masked blonde she saw earlier. His eyes are just like Naruto's. He even shares Naruto's love for ramen. Maybe that is Naruto. I mean, he also has the same hair. Snap out of this, Ino, you have to fight in the Chunin exams. But if that is Naruto, then I have to tell him how I feel. I need to show him that I have gotten stronger. I have trained hard for the past year and a half to become stronger, just so next time, I can be there fighting alongside him. I need to win the Chunin exams. I have to make Tsunade Shursho proud. I will not lose to Billboard Brow this time. I am going to win. With those thoughts, she went to train a bit and strategize for the next day's fight. The Kage booth. The day of the Chunin exam finals. The Hokage, Tsunade Senju. The Mizukage, Mei Terumi. The Kusakaz, leader of the Grass Village. The Kazekage, Gaara. Nico and Kitsune were seated in the Kage booth. Kitsune and Nico had convinced the Mizukage and the Kusakaz to join the Chunin exam finals after signing a treaty with the Hidden Grass Village. The village elders of Suna had decided to make the duo as judges instead of bodyguards after witnessing their fights. It was safe to say that the two could easily see who were Chunin material and who were not. They were waiting for the Chunin exam finals to begin. Kitsune and Nico, your yesterday's battle was quite spectacular. Wasn't it, Hokage-sama? Mei Terumi spoke in a gentle voice. It surely was, Mizukage-sama. Tsunade replied, Thank you, Mizukage-sama and Hokage-sama, but the battle could have been avoided if Nico here would have agreed to eat ramen for lunch. Kitsune pointedly looked at Nico. I just wanted to eat Onigiri and Okaka. You don't know the half of it. They have destroyed 12 training grounds within 4 months. Oh, and won their battles when going on for 8 hours. I had to enclose them in a sand coffin and force them to stop. Gaara said. All the Kage and the Kusakaz were amazed. The finals of the Chunin exams are about to begin. A loud voice echoed throughout the stadium. Well then, let's pay attention to the exams. Gaara said to all the people in the Kage booth. In the stadium, the matches were written in bracket format on the huge board in the stadium. The matches were 1. Kiba vs. San Genin, San Genin won. 2. Miss Genin vs. San Genin, Miss Genin won. 3. Shino vs. Hiroto, Shino won. 4. Tenten vs. San Genin, Tenten won. 5. Choji vs. Miss Genin, Choji won. 6. Hinata vs. Grass Genin, Hinata won. 7. Grass Genin vs. Sai, Sai won. 8. Ino vs. Sakura. Ino Yamnaka and Sakura Haruno enter the stadium. The two entered the stadium. Ino had a poker face expression, while Sakura's expression was a smirk. Sakura was too overconfident for her own good. In the Kage booth. Dobe. Your girlfriend is fighting the weakling. Sasuke whispered to Naruto, so that no one could hear them, even with advanced hearing. Shut up, team. She is not my girlfriend. Naruto's face was becoming red. He was grateful for the mask covering his face. Not yet. Okay. Your childhood best friend turned Genin sweetheart is fighting the weakling. Sasuke was enjoying teasing the Uzumaki. What are you two whispering about? Gaara whispered to the duo. He clearly wanted to join the conversation as he had been attending too many conversations with old people and wanted to talk to someone his age. About Dobe's girlfriend beating the hell out of the Banshee. Sasuke snickered. Team. Naruto whisper shouted. A part of him wanted to strangle the raven, but he couldn't. So this is the girl. Gaara suggestively said to Naruto, clearly teasing him. Hokage-sama, if I am not mistaken, aren't those two your students? The Kusakaz asked Tsunade. Yes, they are. Now let's pay attention, the match is beginning. Tsunade pointed out. She knew that Ino would definitely beat Sakura. While Sakura has power, Ino has speed and accuracy. Ino had worked hard compared to Sakura's laziness, and Ino was more level-headed, while Sakura was just impulsive and cocky. The only question was, how long will she actually take to defeat Sakura? Hajm! The proctor shouted. Get ready to get your ass beaten, Ino pig. We'll see whose ass gets beaten, Billboard Brow. Now less talking, more fighting. Earth style. Stone clone jutsu. Ino spat out earth from her mouth, which formed 5 clones. They spread out within the stadium, while the real Ino was hiding under the earth, camouflaged and waiting to spot Sakura's weakness. She knew that she could not waste too much of her chakra in this fight, as this was a tournament and she had to fight many other contestants that were stronger than Sakura. Ch-a-ia! Sakura punched one of the clone, turning it into stones. She continued punching the stone clones. Cha! Her hand went through the last clone. She smirked. However, she did not notice the paper bombs in the clone. The clone took a hold of her hand and held it firmly, before exploding. Sakura flew back because of the blast, and before she could even react, Ino delivered a chop to her neck, rendering her unconscious. Winner, Ino Yamanaka. Hokage-sama, I see your student Ino is very skilled. Her speed is definitely Jonin level, and her technique of taking the opponent by shock is admirable. I think she is definitely Chunin level, wouldn't you agree? Kusaka-sama, Kazekage-sama, Kitsune, Nico? The Mizukage asked, turning her face towards Tsunade. She is really strong. She has skipped the last 3 exams just to become stronger and win these exams. Tsunade was proud of the Yamanaka. She had grown closer to the blonde after becoming her teacher. And after Naruto's death, the two had gotten even closer. The two never did believe his death and hoped that someday he would return back to them. Her use of the earth style is certainly excellent, the Kusakas replied. I agree, Mizukage-sama, Gaara replied. I couldn't even spot the paper bombs, Kitsune pointed out, because you were too busy looking at her butt. Nico teased Naruto. No one really heard him except Naruto and Gaara. Naruto blushed underneath his mask and Sasuke smirked. Everyone braced themselves for the second round. Round 2 of the tournament will begin shortly, the proctor shouted out. The updated scoreboard: San Genin versus Miss Genin. Miss Genin won. Shino versus Tenten. Shino won. Choji versus Hinata. Hinata won. Sai versus Ino. Ino Yamanaka and Sai enter the stadium. The two entered the stadium. Ino had the same poker face on while Sai fake smiled, which angered Ino. You should just quit if you can't win a battle, Sai said with his fake smile. And you should not underestimate your opponent. Ino shot back. The two engaged in a taijutsu fight, Sai's tanto against Ino's kunai. Sai had the upper hand due to the length, but Ino soon used that to his disadvantage. She remembered the technique that Nico had used against Kitsune in their yesterday's battle and decided to use it. She gave him an opening, slid her blade under his and parried with force, knocking the blade out of his hand. Nico, she used your technique, Naruto whispered to Sasuke. Hn. She is pretty skilled, Sasuke whispered back. Unlike the others, she paid attention while we were sparring to learn a few tricks. Sai immediately jumped back, removing his super beast scroll, drawing lions to attack her. 11 lions attacked her. Ino slammed her hands on the ground. Earth style. Flying stones, she shouted, sending a multitude of rocks, similar to Nico's fire release, great flame flower, into the air. The rocks came crashing down on Sai's drawings, instantly turning them to ink. Sai did a series of somersaults to avoid getting hit by the flying rocks, landing on his feet far from Ino. His vision was blocked due to the dust in the air caused by Ino's jutsu. He tried to find Ino but couldn't see anything. He suddenly felt 2 hands grab his legs and pull him into the ground. Ino pulled him into the ground, restricting his movements, and put a kunai to his neck. Earth style, double suicide decapitation technique, she said while emerging from the earth. She knocked him out using the butt of her kunai. Winner, Ino Yamanaka. Her use of the earth style is very good. If she keeps on improving, she might even grow up to be a better earth style user than me. Mei admitted. She is quite observant too. Some of her moves were the same moves used by Kitsune and Nico during their fight yesterday, the Kasakas pointed out. Nico's technique is very hard to copy. Also, he did it while he was defending my attacks, so even seeing the technique was really hard, and she replicated it. She should definitely be promoted to Chunin, Kitsune said proudly. She is also a quick thinker. She made the whole plan and executed it perfectly, Gaara replied. I am thinking of giving her Katsuyu's summoning contact after the Chunin exams, Tsunade admitted. She was proud of her student. Her student may not be the best in medical ninjutsu, but she was certainly her strongest student when it came to ninjutsu and taijutsu. Semi-finals. Shino versus Miss Genin. Miss Genin won. Hinata versus Ino. Hinata Hyuga and Ino Yamanaka enter the stadium. The two entered the stadium and smiled at each other. Hinata, best of luck, Ino said with a smile. After all, she was one of her friends. You too, Ino. May the best kunoichi win, Hinata replied. Yeah. No hard feelings, okay? No hard feelings. Be a Kugan, Hinata said while getting into the gentle fist stance. She activated her Byakugan, Her eyes widened and all the veins around her eyes became visible. They started sparring, which was mostly Ino trying to keep out of the Hyuga's reach. Ino knew that she could never defeat Hinata in taijutsu, and if she went too close to her, she would just lose because of Hinata's ability to shut down chakra points. She remembered how Naruto had defeated Niji. She made a clone and used the earth style, hiding like a mole jutsu to hide underground while her clone dodged Hinata's attacks. She decided to use earth style, double suicide decapitation technique to pull Hinata underground. As soon as she was about to grab Hinata's leg, Hinata jumped away. Unlike Niji, she did not lower her guard. You may have defeated Sai with that jutsu, but you cannot defeat me. I can sense your chakra. You have to try harder, Ino. Among all of the other contestants, Hinata was probably her worst matchup. Hinata constantly tried to hit Ino's chakra points, but was unable to as Ino never got too close to her. Earth style, flying stones. Ino yelled while slamming her hands on the ground, sending a multitude of rocks towards Hinata from all sides. 8 trigrams, palm rotation. Hinata rotated at high velocity, repelling all of Ino's stones and creating a crater around her. Ino was getting irritated seeing Hinata defending against her attacks so easily. After getting tired of evading the Hyuga's attacks, Ino decided to use Genjutsu on Hinata. Genjutsu. Flower Hill, Ino whispered under her breath, while summoning up illusionary purple flowers from the ground in front of Hinata, trying to damage and paralyze her. Hinata quickly dispelled the Genjutsu before it could harm her. Earth style, earthen stone shoots. For large spikes attacked Hinata from 4 sides, making it hard to evade. Hinata gathered chakra at the bottom of her feet, jumped to evade the attack however. The spikes scraped her right leg. She engaged Ino head-on in a taijutsu battle, but Ino never got in her range. Ino knew that if she got into Hinata's range, she would lose, so she always put a lot of distance between Hinata and herself. She began thinking about strategies to defeat Hinata. She couldn't use taijutsu of Genjutsu, so that only left her one option, ninjutsu. She had to use something that Hinata cannot break. Finally, she got it. Earth style, stone plate coffin. Ino said, raising curved chakra infused stone walls around Hinata and trapped Hinata inside, only leaving her face out so she could breathe. Hinata tried to get out of it but failed. Hinata struggled a lot before finally giving up. Winner, Ino Yamanaka. The proctor announced. The crowd cheered and clapped. Tsunade was really proud of her student. Inoichi had taken a leave just to watch his daughter perform in the Chunin exam, and he couldn't be more proud of Ino. Naruto smiled underneath his mask after Ino had won the round. She had come a long way from her first Chunin exams. He was excited to see her after the exams. He had planned a special evening for her with the help of Gaara and Sasuke. Although they both teased him a lot, we will have a 30-minute long break before the finals of the Chunin exams, the proctor announced. Some members of the crowd went to get food. Guys, I am going to get ramen. Do you want anything? Naruto asked the rest of the people in the Kage booth. Onigiri and tomatoes. Sasuke replied. Bring me taiyaki, Gaara said. I will have dangos. Mei spoke up. I will also have dangos, the Kusakas replied. So onigiri and tomatoes for Nico, taiyaki for Gaara and dangos for the Kusakas and Lady Mizukage, Kitsune wondered out loud. Okay, I'll be back in 5 minutes, he announced before leaving. Tsunade had already left to check up on her student before the finals. 25 minutes later, the finals of the Chunin exams are beginning. Please take your seats, the proctor announced. Ino Yamanaka and Chizu Kaneko enter the stadium. Ino stood across the Miss Genin now identified as Chizu Kaneko. She had little more than 1/3 of her chakra resources. Hajm, the battle began. The two began throwing shurikens and kunai at each other. After a while, the two engaged in a taijutsu fight, landing some hits on each other. Fire style, dragon flame jutsu. Chizu shouted before spitting fire from her mouth. Earth style, mud wall. Ino rammed her hands onto the ground, erecting a strong wall to defend herself. Earth style, stone pistol jutsu, Ino said while shooting several bullets from her mouth towards Chizu. Chizu managed to avoid most of the bullets, but some hit her. The two engaged in a taijutsu fight again, landing a few hits on each other. Their chakra was depleting. Both of them wanted to finish this fight quickly, or they would faint from chakra exhaustion. All the people were quite intrigued in this fight. Fire style, fireball jutsu, Chizu said while expelling a huge orb of fire from her mouth. Earth style mud wall. Ino erected an even higher and wider wall to defend against the fireball. Fire style, phoenix flower jutsu. Chizu immediately spat out a number of fireballs towards Ino from the back. The fireballs hit Ino, and Chizu lowered her guard, thinking that she had won. The real Ino appeared behind Chizu. Earth style, bottomless swamp, she said, turning the ground around Chizu into deep mud, which swallowed her till only her head was visible. Ino put a kunai to her neck, without wasting any time. Winner, Ayano Yamanaka, the proctor announced. The whole stadium burst into cheers. As soon as Ino heard this, she fell to her knees and smiled. She had done it. She had won the Chunin exams. The next evening, Naruto was waiting outside Ino's door, waiting for her to open. Ino opened her door and found Kitsune waiting outside. She was wearing her casual clothes, an orange tee and gray sweatpants. She looked up at Kitsune in a questioning gaze. Kazekage-sama has requested your presence. Naruto said, Okay, I'll be in his office in a few minutes. Ino replied, Actually, you need to accompany me. He's not in his office. Naruto said almost immediately, Okay, let me get dressed. Ino said, closing the door. She opened the door 5 minutes later wearing her usual purple dress. Let's go. Ino followed him to the greenhouse in Suna. As soon as they were inside it, Naruto pulled up his barrier. He had used this so many times that he knew it like the back of his hand. Hey, Ino-chan, Naruto said. He was standing in front of Ino, only a couple of feet away. Gaara and Sasuke had helped him plan this whole date, and Gaara even cleared the greenhouse for him. He closed his eyes and slowly removed his mask. As soon as Ino saw his face, she was shocked. It's him. It's Naruto. He's really here, she thought before punching him in the gut. As soon as he bent down a little, Ino hugged him tightly, not wanting to let go. She sinks her face into his shoulder and he rests his chin on the top of her head. I really missed you, Whiskers. Ino says tears fall from her eyes. Do you know how worried Shursho and I were? I missed you too, Ino-chan. You crossed my mind every day. Then why did you leave? Ino asked, looking into his cerulean blue eyes. I had no other choice. If I would have come back from the mission, I would have been either locked away in a cell or been banished from the Leaf, regardless of the fact that I had succeeded or failed to bring Sasuke. I knew that something was wrong, so I left a clone behind to spy on the council, and the civilian council and the village elders were overpowering Bachon. And if Sasuke returned, he would be on house arrest and would have been forced to marry many women to produce Uchiha heir. So, we had no option other than to fake our death and assume other identities. Naruto replied, looking into her ice-blue eyes. So you mean that the great Kitsune and Nico are actually just Sasuke and you? The great Kitsune and Nico? Are we famous or something? Naruto looked at her weirdly. Yes, you two are famous in Konoha. You are the only ones that Danzo could not gather any intel on. He has been trying for the past year, sending a lot of his root agents after you too, but none of them ever returned. Ino replied with excitement. Oh, I didn't know that we were famous. Anyways, I brought you here to fulfill my promise of taking you out on a date, he said, giving her his signature foxy grin as he broke the hug and walked to the table set up in the middle of the greenhouse. The two had dinner, which was prepared by Sasuke, because Naruto couldn't cook anything except ramen, and talked about the things that happened in the past 2 years. The two were now lying on the grass under a tree. They were holding each other's hands, fingers intertwined. The two looked at each other in a comfortable silence. Suddenly, Naruto got up in a sitting position, pulling Ino up by her hand. He sat in front of her, taking her hand between both of his, looking into her eyes sincerely. Ino-chan, I had started liking you during the last year of our academy, and my crush gradually grew. That day, when you agreed to go out on a date with me, I was ecstatic. And in the past 2 years, I have realized something. I realized that I love you, Ino-chan. Naruto leaned towards Ino, their faces centimeters apart. She looked into his eyes filled with love. Her eyes traveled to his lips. She slightly parted her lips and closed her eyes. She didn't want to wait for Naruto, so she quickly smashed their lips together. Their kiss started out being a sweet kiss, but before Naruto could pull away, she kissed him passionately, and he returned the kiss with the same passion. Ino pinned him down on the ground, getting on top of him and breaking the kiss. She touched her forehead to his. I love you too, Whiskers, she whispered back to him, before kissing him hungrily again. After breaking the kiss, she looked in his eyes. You're mine, Uzumaki, she said in an ordering tone. And you're mine, Yamanaka, he growled back. She rests her head on his chest, slightly shifting her weight to his side, and he wrapped his hands around her. When are you leaving? Ino asked in a sad tone. Tomorrow, he replied, taking out a box from his pocket. But before I go, I want to give you something, he said, taking out 2 ribbons from the box. One was orange while the other was purple. He ties the purple one around his arm and gives the orange one to Ino. Even we are far from each other, we will always be together. No matter what, these ribbons will keep us connected to each other. Yeah? Ino asked hopefully, looking into his azure blue eyes. Yeah. Also, there are gifts from Team and me for winning the Chunin exams. He unseals a wakizashi and his tanto. The wakizashi is from Sasuke. According to him, you need a bigger blade to fight. And the tanto is from me, it was my mom's. I found it recently and seeing your matches. I think this will suit your speed. Naruto said, giving her the gifts. Thank you, Whiskers, she says. Listen, Ino-chan, I need to leave in some time as I need to rest a bit. We leave tomorrow at the brink of dawn. I can't delay it as we have a meeting with the hidden cloud in 5 days. Naruto looks at her with an apologetic expression. Hey, are you going to come back? Ino asked hesitantly. If everything goes according to Sasuke's plan, we will be back in the leaf. Although I don't know how long it will take. Oh, okay. Ino looks down with a sad expression. Hey, don't be sad. I will still try to spend time with you if we ever run into each other while missions. And besides, we just have to be patient to the plan to work out. He kisses her passionately. He knew that they weren't going to see each other for a while, so wanted to make the most of it. The two ended the kiss and their eyes met. Ino-chan, once this whole mess is cleared up, I'll come back to you. Promise. And don't forget that I love you, he said, looking at her with a smile. I love you too, Whiskers, she replied. They spent some time together before returning to their rooms. Somewhere in the forests of the Land of Fire, a group of 3 masked strangers were heading towards their home situated near the hidden hot water village. The one wearing the fox mask was dressed in black umbu trousers and a black jacket with 3 diagonal orange stripes and had the Uzumaki clan symbol on one sleeve and the Senju clan symbol on the other. The one with the cat mask was wearing black umbu trousers and a navy blue high-collared t-shirt with a small Uchiha clan symbol on the back, and the girl wearing the sparrow mask was dressed in a long-sleeve t-shirt and a skirt with fishnet armor going down to her knees. A hawk carrying an emergency letter from Suna was heading towards them. As soon as he was above them, he sat on Kitsune's shoulder and pecked him in the ear. Kitsune and the two stopped their journey and landed on the ground. Nico had grabbed the letter and was letting the bird go, while Kitsune was putting up his barrier. What is the letter about Sasuke? The blonde asked while removing his mask. He had an annoyed expression on his face because of the hawk pecking his ear. Sasuke removed his mask. We need to go to Suna immediately, Naruto the dash. But before he could complete the sentence, Naruto had cut him off. I just finished a meeting with the fire daimyo, and just as I am about to return home, a hawk from Suna wants us to go to Suna? Now we have to head in the opposite direction, and I haven't had my dose of ramen. Naruto started anime crying. Is Anija bipolar or something, Sasuke-kun? Was he always like this? The girl asked, taking her mask of revealing a beautiful girl. She had medium-length red hair and warm brown eyes. Yes, Aiko-chan. He's been that way since we were children. In the beginning I wanted to Chidori him, but after a while I got used to the dobe. He answered back. The two had found Aiko while returning from their meeting with Kumo after the Chunin exams. A year ago. A bunch of Otogekyure shinobi were attacking her, and she was about to be captured due to chakra exhaustion, but the two had killed the Oto Nins and taken her in. In the beginning, she was cold and distant towards the two and only answered when asked something, but after a few months, she had warmed up to the two. She was a year younger than the two and was an orphan. A few months back, she started calling Naruto Anija, because both of them were Uzumakis and Naruto always treated her like a little sister, and she had a special bond with Sasuke. The Raven always helped her with her nightmares when Naruto was away on solo missions. Oi Naruto, quit whining, this is a serious matter. The Akatsuki got Gaara, Sasuke said with a grim voice, and poisoned Kankuro. The sand is in chaos. We need to go. Okay, Naruto said, closing his eyes. He entered his mindscape to have a talk with Kurama. Kurama, do you think that you could transfer your chakra to Sasuke and Aiko-chan? I can sense that their chakra reserves are low. Sure, Kit, but hurry up. That Gaara brat would die if Shikaku was to be extracted from him. Kurama said, channeling some of his chakra into Naruto. We leave now, Naruto said, opening his eyes. Anija, our chakra reserves are low. Even if we managed to reach the sand, we would be out for a long time due to chakra exhaustion. Aiko slightly rolled her eyes. I already thought about that. Aiko-chan, Sasuke, give me a fist bump. Kurama is going to transfer some of his chakra to you so that you can refill your chakra reserves by the time we reach the sand. Naruto said while giving both of them a fist bump. A minute later, all of them were covered on Kurama's bubbly orange chakra. They put on their masks, pulled down the barrier and headed towards Suna. On reaching Suna, the three had just reached Suna. The village was partially destroyed, and there were only 3 guards at the village gates because the rest were either injured or were busy keeping the villagers safe and rebuilding the village. We are the Yuzu trio, allies of the sand, Kitsune said to one of the guards. Hi, Kitsune-sama, Nico-sama and Suzume-sama. We were expecting you. He then ordered one of the guards to bring Temari or Baki. A few seconds later Baki arrived. What is the state of the sand? Kitsune asked Baki. A huge part of the sand is destroyed. The older brother of the Kazekage, Kankuro, was poisoned by Sasori of the Akatsuki. Team 7 from the Leaf has arrived, but they have not been able to cure Kankuro, Baki said, leading them towards the hospital. HNN. Those pathetic genins can't cure Kankuro. Let me have a look, Nico muttered. The 3 reached the room where Sakura was inspecting Kankuro. Were these the weaklings you were talking about, Nico? Suzume asked bluntly in front of the Leaf Ninja. This pissed Hiroto off. Hey, we are not weak. I am easily stronger than all 3 of you, Hiroto shouted. Well, let's see. The black-haired one has mid-chunin level chakra, the pinky has low-chunin level chakra, and your chakra is also mid-chunin level. The only strong one in your team is the white-haired guy, who appears to be your sensei. His chakra is high jonin level. Overall, you all are weak except your sensei. Suzume said. How dare you? I am the apprentice of Lady Tsunade, Sakura arrogantly said. But still you can't cure him. Now move aside, Pinky. Let me examine him, Nico said. Sakura, we are not here to pick fights. Let him examine Kankuro, Kakashi said without even looking away from his book. I apologize for their bluntness. He scratched the back of his neck nervously. Okay, Nico and Suzume, while you two treat Kankuro, while I help out around the village, Kitsune said before leaving through the window. What is his condition? Nico asked while examining Kankuro's lungs and heart. High fever, body weakness, and semi-paralysis state. One of the Suna medics replied. The poison is spreading across the body and is currently affecting his heart, lungs, pancreas, kidneys, and intestines. I need time to make the antidote, but that would mean risking Kankuro's life. I have to remove the toxins directly. Please bring me clean water. Suzume and the rest hold Kankuro down, Nico instructed. 2 of the Suna medics went to bring water while the rest, Temari and Suzume, held Kankuro in place. As soon as the bowl of water had arrived, Nico forced in water into Kankuro's chest. The water then drew out the toxins from Kankuro's organs, and after that Nico pulled out the toxin-filled water out from the other side. He repeated this process several times until all of the poison from Kankuro's internal organs had been removed. I removed all of the poison so Kankaro's life shouldn't be in danger anymore, Nico said, moving away from Kankaro's bed. Temari breathed out a sigh of relief. Everyone in the room was awestruck. Something that they hadn't been able to do for hours was just done within minutes by Nico. Even Sakura, Tsunade's student, and the best doctors of Suna couldn't figure out what to do in this situation, and Nico made it seem easy. Suzume, can you prepare an antidote for the poison? Yes, Nico. Do you know where the greenhouse is? The redhead asked the raven. Yes, follow me. The two took one bowl of poisoned water and headed towards the greenhouse. Finally found the antidote. Sasori sure makes complex poisons. It took me 28 minutes to prepare the antidote. Now let's go find Anija and leave to find Gaara, Suzume said. HN. The two met up with Naruto in the Kazekage's office, where Temari was handling the job of the Kazekage. The three advised Temari to ask for another strong team from the Leaf and decided to leave next morning since it was only evening, and according to their intel, the Akatsuki would need at least 4 days to extract the tailed beast, and Gaara was captured 2 days ago. The next morning, the three were at the gates of Suna, ready for departure. Nico summoned his cat summon. Kara, I need you to track this scent. Can you do that for me? Nico asked, giving the cat a piece of Sasori's clothing that they had recovered from one of Kankaro's puppets. Hi, Nico-sama. Follow me. The cat sniffed the fabric and started leading the team towards Sasori's scent. After a while of following Kara, the three stopped abruptly after seeing a man in the Akatsuki cloak with a straw hat. The person slowly lifts his hat off, revealing a pair of Sharingan eyes. Is he? Kitsune could only say 2 words before Nico cut him off. Itachi Uchiha, Nico said with venom in his voice. He activated his own set of Sharingan. Whatever you do, do not look into his eyes. Kitsune immediately took his offensive stance. Kitsune, you promised to stay out of this. So like a non-fighting teamwork? No, just cover me. Nico ran towards Itachi and tried to punch him, but Itachi easily grabbed his wrist and started tightening his hold in attempt of breaking it. But after a few seconds, Nico poofed away. Shadow clone. He has grown, but he is still not good enough, Itachi thought. Nico appeared behind him. Chidori spear, he said, firing a sharp beam of lightning from his palm. As soon as the beam pierced Itachi, he disappeared in a murder of crows. He reappeared behind Nico. You're only using around 30% of your power for this, Nico said, turning to Itachi. Itachi didn't reply. Okay, so you don't want to talk. The two made the same hand signs. Fire style. Phoenix flower jutsu. The two Uchiha fired a volley of fireballs towards each other, canceling each other's jutsu out. The two again made similar hand signs. Fire style. Grand fireball technique. The two fired off massive fireballs at each other, Nico's fireball being slightly larger. A few minutes later, there was thick layer of smoke covering the forest. Oi Nico, this is not the real Itachi, hurry up. We need to save the Kazekage too. Suzume yelled from her spot. Chidori, Sunban. Nico sent a multitude of needles made out of lightning chakra towards Itachi. Itachi managed to avoid all of the needles, but he did not sense Kitsune coming for him from underneath the ground. Nico had given Kitsune the signal to attack by sending a needle his way. Kitsune came in front of Itachi from underneath the ground and swung at him. Itachi caught his arm and Kitsune used his other hand to hold Itachi in place. Itachi tried to place a genjutsu on Kitsune but for some reason was not able to. Shadow clone, he thought. He tried to free himself but was not able to. Now Nico. Nico came running towards Itachi and Naruto's clone with a Chidori in each hand. Chidori. He pummeled Itachi into the ground with the Chidori. Itachi slightly smiled after getting hit. After looking at the corpse, they found out that it was actually a sand ninja instead of Itachi. Itachi had used some jutsu to transfer his conscious into the ninja. The three resumed their journey to find Gaara with Kara leading them. Nico quickly summoned another cat and sent it to find the other team from the Leaf. Meanwhile, Team 10 was heading towards the Akatsuki hideout to provide support for the Kazekage's rescue mission. Asuma-sensei, how much further is the location? Shikamaru asked. We have an hour-long journey ahead of us. Asuma replied. What a drag. Shut up, Shikamaru. Everything is a drag for you. Ino replied, slightly irritated. The three came to a halt when they saw a man with the Akatsuki cloak on and a sword covered in bandages. Well, look who it is. Asuma Sarutobi. You were pretty weak the last time we fought. Asuma-sensei? Do you know him? Choji asked. Yes, that is Kisame Hashikaji, wielder of the Samahata. He used to be one of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist, but now is a part of the Akatsuki. Asuma said, spitting out his half-burnt cigarette and taking out his chakra blades. It's quite an honor being remembered by one of the former Guardian Shinobi 12. Water style. Exploding water shock wave. Kisame spat out a huge volume of water from his mouth, enough to fill a small lake. That technique needs a lot of chakra, Shikamaru said before the four jumped out of the way, to avoid getting hit by the water waves coming out of Kisame's mouth. Asuma-sensei, we need to get rid of the water in order for my shadow possession jutsu to work. This is such a drag. On it. Cover me. Fire style. Burning ash. Asuma said, spewing out a stream of chakra-infused gunpowder from his mouth covering Kisame and a lot of the water in a smokescreen. He then rubbed his chakra blades together to form a spark, which ignited the gunpowder, causing an explosion. After the smoke from the explosion was cleared, a lot of water had evaporated, but Kisame was nowhere to be seen. Under you! Ino shouted. Kisame appeared in front of the four. The four jumped away from him. Water style. Water clone jutsu. Kisame said, forming for water clones. Earth style. Stone clone jutsu. Ino said, spitting out earth from her mouth, which then transformed into 8 clones. She knew that her clones were definitely stronger since earth has an advantage over water, but didn't want to take any chances. She then sent sets of 2 clones to take out Kisame's 1 clone. In the end, she managed to take all of Kisame's clones out and was still left with 3 clones. Suddenly, Kisame's clones appeared in front of all 4 of them from underneath the water and tried to capture them in his water prison jutsu. Shikamaru and Choji were captured, but Asuma and Ino managed to get away. Asuma engaged in a taijutsu fight with Kisame, his chakra blades against Kisame's Samahata. After a while, Kisame managed to strike Asuma and sent Asuma underwater. Asuma tried to resurface, but Kisame had other plans. Water style. 5 hungry sharks. Kisame put his hands on the water and formed 5 sharks from the chakra released from the tip of his fingers. Asuma cut the sharks with his chakra blades, but they reformed immediately. Meanwhile, Ino freed her teammates from Kisame's water prison. Tired of cutting the sharks, Asuma gathered a huge amount of chakra in his chest. Fire style. Grand fireball technique. Wind style. Great breakthrough. He fired off a fireball and then intensified it with a gust of wind. This evaporated all of the water. Earth style. Stone golem. Ino said, ramming her hands onto the ground and forming 3 humanoid creatures. The creatures attacked Kisame, leading him to Shikamaru. Suddenly, Kisame couldn't move. Ninja art. Shadow possession jutsu complete. Shikamaru said, human boulder. Choji shouted, coming with huge velocity at Kisame. Kisame couldn't move, which led to the Akimichi crushing Kisame. The 4 examined the corpse and found a sand ninja. Just when they were about to leave, a ginger cat stopped them. I am Kaido. Nikosama has asked me to lead you to him. They have found the Akatsuki hideout and are heading there. The cat said, leading the 4 to Team Yuzu. On the cliff across the Akatsuki hideout. Ugh. How long do we have to wait for them? An irritated Kitsune asked. Dobe, chill. They'll be here, Nico said calmly. They had been waiting for about 5 minutes for the other team and Kakashi to arrive. Before leaving, they wrote a letter to Kakashi giving him a piece of Kitsune's clothing and asking him to get rid of his useless team and follow the trio. Kitsune and Nico trusted Kakashi to a certain extent and wanted him to be their backup in case they ran into too much trouble. And Nico had also sent out one of his cats to lead the team from Konoha to them. They were waiting for at least one of the 2 to arrive, as they knew that dealing with the Akatsuki was not going to be simple. Well, I hope I am not late. A smiling Kakashi appeared behind them. Kakashi, you are always late. Pakun deadpanned. Well, I have done my job of locating them, so I'll be off. See you later. Pakun said before disappearing in a poof. Alright, now let's go kick some Akatsuki butt and save Gaara, Kitsune said, clearly excited. Stop acting so childish, Anija. The Konoha team is approaching. I thought you were a censor. Suzume deadpanned. She still couldn't understand how her brother could act like a wise leader one second and an immature child the other. After a while, Team 10 appeared with Nico's cat Kaito. Team 10 reporting. What is the plan? Kakashi, where's your team? Asuma asked. Team 10, except Choji, who was wearing his clan armor as it could expand with him, were wearing the standard Leaf Shinobi uniforms with the Jonin and Chunin flak jackets. Left them in Suna. They're not skilled enough to handle this. Kakashi replied with a bored expression. The cave on the opposite side of this cliff is one of the Akatsuki's hideout. It has a seal at the entrance. To break the seal, I will need to make another seal which I will place on top of it. After that, Ino-chan, Nico, Suzume, Kakashi-san and I will enter the hideout. I am sensing some ninjas nearby, so Asuma-san, Choji, and Shikamaru, it would be best if you took care of them, should they interfere with our mission. That's the plan, Kitsune said. Everyone took their positions, and those who did not know much about Kitsune were impressed by his ability to formulate a perfect plan within seconds. The five rushed to the cave with a boulder blocking its entrance and a big seal placed on it. It had the word forbidden written on it in kanji. 5 seal barrier, a level 8 barrier, Kitsune said, pulling out a paper and a brush and making a seal. About 10 seconds later, he made a similar seal with the word permitted written on it in kanji. 5 seal barrier, pass, he said, placing his seal tag on top of the Akatsuki's seal tag. He then made another small seal and placed it on the boulder blocking the entrance to the Akatsuki hideout. Within seconds, the boulder broke down into smaller stones, allowing all of the ninjas to enter the hideout. Ninja art. Shuriken Shadow Clone Jutsu. Suzume said, throwing a shuriken and multiplying it into 1,000 at the 2 Akatsuki and the rest of the Akatsuki holograms. The colorful holograms disappeared as soon as they came in contact with shuriken, and the 2 defended themselves from the barrage of shuriken. You have some nerve disturbing us like that, We had almost broken the seal. Deidara cried out loud. Deidara, let's finish this quickly. I don't like to keep people waiting, and especially not Leader Sama. Sasori said, taking off his cloak, revealing a puppet of a man on all fours with a scorpion tail. I don't fight well in closed spaces. Deidara put his hands into his clay pouches and started molding clay. Well, I guess I'm going to get out of here, he said, molding his clay into a bird. He then sat on it and flew away. Kit, Gaara's seal is weakening. You need to fix it before Shikaku is released or he'll die. Kurama said. Nico, Kakashi-san, go after Deidara. Lightning is his weakness. Suzume, Ino-chan, handle this scorpion man looking thing till I fix Gaara's seal, Kitsune said before taking off over to where Gaara was laying unconscious. He quickly put up his barrier, in case the tailed beast got loose. Inside the barrier. Kit, this is bad. That stupid raccoon is trying to free itself. You have to use that technique to suppress its chakra. Kurama said, slightly worried. Okay, Kurama, he said while giving the fox a nod. Hokage-style Elder Jutsu. 10th Edict on Enlightenment, he said as the kanji for sit appeared on the palm of his hand. Then 10 spiked pillars surrounded the unconscious Jinchuriki. He had recently found out that he had with style when he had shown Aiko how to use the chakra paper to find out her chakra nature. He had seen a plant grow out of the paper last time, but did not know what nature it was. While showing Aiko how to use the chakra paper, Sasuke pointed out that he had the wood style. Damn, I need to fix his seal while suppressing the tailed beast chakra. Wood style. Wood clone jutsu. He made a wood clone which held up the jutsu, while the original Naruto began working on fixing Gaara's seal. This is such a basic storage seal. No wonder Gaara couldn't sleep. He then decided to reseal Shikaku using the improved version of the 8 tetragram seal that was placed on him by Minato. The seal was originally used by the Uzumaki clan to completely seal a tailed beast. Later on, Minato improved it by adding a crack in the seal, granting the Jinchuriki access to the tailed beast's chakra, but it had one flaw. With time, the seal would weaken, which would let the tailed beast free. Naruto had improved it by making it so that it would have 4 stages of weakening, which were all controlled by the Jinchuriki or the sealer knot time. He summoned the Uzumaki ceremonial throne and placed Gaara on it. He then started working on the seal. Outside the barrier, Ino and Aiko versus Sasori. Ino, be careful. That is a puppet. Sasori was originally a puppet master of the sand. He was then resented by the Sand Village because he turned humans into puppets and later became a missing ninja. He managed to even take down the 3rd Kazekage. Suzume said, keeping her guard up. Well, someone has done their homework. Don't worry, once I'm done with you, I'll turn you into my puppets too. This is my art. Sasori said, listen Suzume, if we are going to take down Sasori, we need to work together. As far as I know, the armor of that puppet is very strong. One of us needs to break it. Ino whispered to Suzume so that Sasori couldn't hear them. And yeah, stay away from his tail. That tail is very poisonous. Alongside being a puppet master, Sasori is also a poison expert, so look out for any of his weapons. If the poison enters your body, then it's game over for us. Suzume whispered back, enough talking. I will finish you quickly. I do not like to be kept waiting. Sasori said, removing the cloth covering the lower portion of his mouth. The mouth hung open and began spraying a lot of poisonous needles. Earth-style mud wall. Ino quickly erected a mud wall to protect Suzume and herself. Ino, I have a plan. Suzume then whispered the plan into Ino's ear and Ino nodded in agreement. The two went running towards Sasori, avoiding and deflecting all of his needles. As soon as they were in range, Sasori swung his tail and stabbed both of them. The tail went straight through them. A second later, Ino crumbled into stone, while Suzume poofed away. Sasori's ears widened. Before he could comprehend what had happened, he heard 2 voices at the same time. Fire style. Fire palm. Suzume yelled, ramming her blazing palms onto Sasori's back. Earth style. Stone fist jutsu. Ino yelled at the same time, punching into Sasori's armor with a giant rock fist, completely destroying it. Then a cloaked figure jumped from inside the puppet. The figure lifted his hood up, revealing a young man with red hair and brown eyes. How is it possible? He looks just like he used to look 20 years ago. Suzume was confused. Suzume, he is a human puppet. He turned himself into a puppet just to stay immortal. Ino replied, well, aren't you a smart one? Now let's end this. I need your bodies to make an even more dangerous puppet, now that Hiroku is destroyed. Sasori was really pissed off at the Kunoichis for breaking his puppet. Secret red move. Performance of 100 puppets. Sasori said, summoning and controlling 100 puppets using his chakra threads. Let's see. 2 against 100. Looks like the odds are against you. Well, looks like I have to use a ninja's jutsu. It's a good thing I have huge chakra reserves. Suzume murmured. Multi-shadow clone jutsu. Suzume shouted, making 50 shadow clones. Looks like we are going to need more clones. Ino slightly smirked. Earth style. Stone clone jutsu. She formed a total of 30 clones. She then placed her hands on the ground. Earth style. Earth dragon. Ino yelled, forming a giant stone dragon in front of all the clones. Looks like the odds are pretty even now, don't you think? Suzume said. Let's see who wins. Meanwhile, with Sasuke and Kakashi. Sasuke and Kakashi were chasing down Deidara, who was flying away on his explosive bird. Kakashi had lifted up his headband, revealing his Sharingan. Nico had also activated his Sharingan. The two were jumping on the horizontally placed logs between 2 cliffs. Meanwhile, Deidara was trying to separate them and finish them one by one. Deidara sent a bunch of explosive clay birds at them, but Nico and Kakashi easily took them out using their shuriken. Deidara was getting slightly irritated, so he began molding his clay into detonating spiders, which he threw down on the two. The two also managed to avoid the spiders. This made Deidara even angrier. As soon as there was some distance in between the two, he threw 100 detonating crickets between the two. Kakashi tried to catch up with Nico, but the crickets were too damn fast. They had blocked his way by sitting on the next 3 longs and stuck to the enemy's body before detonating. So this is a test of speed, huh? Kakashi thought to himself. He then whizzed past the crickets, The crickets followed him, but some detonated on the way. As soon as he saw a huge log in front of him, he ricocheted off of the log, going under the logs and coming back up again. A lot of the crickets were destroyed. As soon as Kakashi came out from underneath the log, the rest of the crickets stuck to him and exploded. As soon as the smoke from the explosion was cleared, Kakashi could be seen heading towards Nico. Kakashi actually switched himself with a shadow clone while going up, so the crickets actually blew up the shadow clone instead of Kakashi. "It's almost ready," Kakashi said, closing both of his eyes. He opened his left eye, revealing his Mangekyo Sharingan, keeping his right eye closed. "The power of the Mangekyo. Kamui," he said, focusing on Deidara. He managed to send Deidara's arm to another dimension, but couldn't fully send Deidara as he started falling down into the forest. "This is it, I don't have my arms. This is the only other option I have," Deidara said. He was already exhausted due to his fight with Gaara, and he had lost both of his arms. He managed to get off his cloak and pulled the stitches over his heart open with his mouth. Nico and Kakashi landed in front of him. "If I can't make art, then I shall become art itself. This will leave a huge mark on the earth," he said, somehow feeding the mouth on his chest clay. Cracks began appearing on his body as he prepared himself to blow up. "Chidori, spear," Nico yelled, stabbing the part of the chest where the mouth was present. "Kakashi now, Raikiri," Kakashi yelled, running towards Deidara with a ball of lightning in his hand. He pierced Deidara's heart, instantly killing him. Nico retracted his Chidori, spear. "Chidori, Sunban," he said, sending 1,000 needles made up of lightning chakra piercing Deidara's whole body. He wanted to make sure he deactivated all of the clay in his body by sending lightning chakra through it. "You really improved, my Chidori. Looks like you have really improved, Sasuke," Kakashi said, narrowing his eyes at Nico. Nico's eyes widened. "How do you dash?" But before he could continue, Kakashi cut him off. "Easy, you used the Chidori and you have the Sharingan. At first I wasn't sure, but you just confirmed my suspicions right now. Care to explain what's going on, Sasuke?" Nico scowled and mentally cursed himself for falling into Kakashi's trap. "Just have a bit of patience. I'll tell you everything after we meet up with Kitsune." Kakashi was slightly impatient, but had no other choice. He could not force them to tell him, so he had no other option than to wait. "HMOK. And another thing, could you not tell anyone about this?" "Don't worry, Nico. Your secret is safe with me." Kakashi I smiled at his student. "Okay, thanks. Now let's go check up on Kitsune," Nico said before taking off. Kakashi sighed and followed him. With Ino and Suzume, the two had just finished defeating the third Kazekage's puppet. Sasori was easily the toughest opponent that the two had faced. Aiko had delivered the final blow and burnt the puppet to bits. Both Ino and Suzume were covered in sweat and their bodies had cuts and bruises from fighting the fourth Kazekage. "I haven't had to do this since I joined the Akatsuki," Sasori says, taking off his cloak. A metal blade fan stuck out from behind the puppet on each side, and a retractable poisonous harpoon rope was present where his abdomen should be. He pointed his arms towards the two and blazing hot fire came out of his palms. "Earth-style mud wall," Ino yelled, erecting a mud wall to protect Suzume and herself. Suzume jumped up on the wall. "Water-style, water bomb jutsu," Suzume yelled, spitting a huge amount of water from her mouth towards Sasori. As soon as the attack was over, she jumped back behind the wall next to Ino. Sasori then started shooting water at a high speed at the two. The water managed to cut through Ino's wall, which led to the two running in opposite directions. As soon as Sasori saw that the two had separated, he shot his poisonous harpoon towards Suzume and used the fans to fly towards Ino. He was inches away from Ino when he realized that he couldn't move. Suzume had caught the rope of his harpoon and pulled it. The poison had no effect on her as she had already taken the antidote to it. "Ino now," Suzume shouted. Ino nodded. "Earth-style, stone fist jutsu," she shouted, punching Sasori in the stomach. Sasori flew backwards towards Suzume, falling apart. Sasori landed about 10 feet behind Suzume. As soon as his body hit the ground, it turned into a bunch of pieces. Suzume turned to Ino, but as soon as she did that, Sasori's puppet rebuilt itself and flew really fast towards Suzume with a blade in hand. Ino appeared between the two to protect Suzume, and the sword pierced her stomach. Instantly, Suzume's eyes widened at this, and as if on instinct, she plunged her kunai through Sasori's heart. Sasori fell down. He couldn't control himself. His heart had been destroyed. He died there peacefully. A few seconds later, Ino fell down. The sword was still stuck inside of her. Blood was coming out of her mouth. Naruto had just finished fixing Gaara's seal. He took down the barrier, and his wood clone was carrying the unconscious Kazekage. The first thing that he saw was that the whole cave was destroyed. He spotted Suzume and ran towards her. As soon as he got near, he saw Ino lying down on her side while Suzume was checking her. He approached them and saw the sword piercing Ino. He ran to her side. "Suzume, what is her condition?" he shouted, looking at the unconscious Yamanaka. He was trying to calm himself but couldn't contain himself. He could never forgive himself if anything happened to his flower girl. He mentally cursed himself for taking so long to fix the seal. He thought that maybe if he was fast, she would not have gotten hurt. Her condition is stable, Anija. Nico can heal her as soon as he arrives. She has just fainted due to chakra exhaustion. Calm down. As soon as he heard that she was going to be fine, all of his worries faded. It was as if a huge weight had been lifted off his shoulders. He gently caressed the unconscious girl's cheek before getting up. As if on cue, Nico and Kakashi arrived. "Holy shit, what happened here?" Nico asked, looking at the great destruction caused by the battle. "Nico, we don't have time for that. Could you heal her quickly?" Suzume asked Nico. She knew that this girl meant a lot to her brother. Her brother had told her a lot about Ino and his past life. "Yeah," Nico said, rushing over to Ino and healing her injuries. After a while, he fully healed Ino. "Dobe, she will be unconscious for a while due to chakra exhaustion. While I check Gaara, tell Kakashi he knows," Nico said, walking over to Gaara. "What does he know?" Kitsune asked. "He knows it's us, and don't worry, he'll not tell anyone. I don't want to explain such a long story, so just tell him everything that happened after our battle at the Valley of the End," he said while checking Gaara's vitals. "Kakashi-sensei, now is not the time, but I do promise that I'll explain everything to you and Bachan later," Kitsune said. "Fine." Kakashi knew he could not argue with him, so he gave up. Gaara had finally woken up and Naruto was carrying Ino piggyback style. They were just exiting the Akatsuki hideout and were going to meet up with Team Asuma. After a while, they met up with Asuma, who said that he had taken out some AIM ninjas that attacked them. Team Asuma offered to carry Ino, but Kitsune was adamant on carrying her. They had been traveling for about 2 hours, and suddenly Kitsune felt Ino move a bit. "Emichim, you are way comfier than my pillow, Whiskers," she murmured sleepily before wrapping her hands tightly around him and snuggling into his neck. "Sleep well, Ino-chan," he whispered back and smiled from underneath his mask. They were going to reach Suna in a few hours, and he wanted her to rest peacefully till they reached Suna. He looked at her face and couldn't help but smile at his cute girlfriend sleeping. The sand after the return of Gaara. It took Team Yuzu, Team 10 and Kakashi a few hours to return to the sand with Gaara. On the way back, Naruto told Gaara about his new seal and explained how to use it. As soon as they entered the sand, the whole sand thanked them and celebrated the return of their Kazekage. The village elders and the Shinobi Council thanked all of them personally and also offered to extend the peace treaty with Team Yuzu. Unlike the leaf, the sand had younger shinobi in the village advisors and Shinobi Council and did not let the village elders manipulate them, as they were only asked for advice. They also did not let the civilian council take part in making the decisions concerning shinobi. They were also impressed by the fact that a Leaf Chunin and Suzume had defeated Sasori of the Sand, one of their greatest shinobi that had gone rouge. They even thanked Kitsune for fixing Gaara's seal and giving him a much safer seal. Team Yuzu gladly accepted the offer of extending the treaty. A room in Suna. Naruto had taken Ino to his house in Suna, which the Sand had given them when they were staying for the Chunin exams. The hospitals were full, so he brought here. It was a 3-bedroom house with 2 stories. Being a seal master, Naruto had set up a bunch of security and privacy seals so that they didn't need to wear masks inside the house. Thankfully, Team 7 and Team 10 except Kakashi and Ino had left immediately after their arrival, so no one really questioned Naruto. Ino was currently sleeping in Naruto's bed, while Naruto was busy making ramen in the kitchen for him and Ino. Ino woke up from her slumber and heard someone humming. She was still in her Chunin uniform. Naruto. She voiced her suspicions. Within seconds Naruto arrived, confirming her suspicions. "You're awake," he said, engulfing Ino in a gentle embrace. "Do you know how worried I was? Don't ever scare me like that." "I will try not to, Whiskers," she said, returning the hug. "I would love to spend time with you, but I need to take a shower. I am covered in blood and sweat and I smell horrible." "Oh right, the shower is to the left," he said. "Okay, do you have something comfortable to wear?" "I only have another 2 pairs of my uniform." Ino lied. "Yeah, my clothes are in the closet. Pick anything that you like. I'm making ramen for us, so hurry up," he said, kissing her gently, and headed towards the kitchen. A few minutes later Ino entered the kitchen wearing one of Naruto's shirts and shorts and found him waiting at the dinner table. "Hey Ino-chan," Naruto said nervously. "Is something wrong, Whiskers? You're stuttering," she said. "No, it's just that you look really hot in my clothes," he blurted out. Ino slightly blushed and chuckled. "So hot that I can barely keep my hands off you." "What's stopping you then?" Ino breathed out. "I'm just waiting for us to complete dinner." "Do you intend to show me how much you missed me, Naruto-kun?" Ino said, smirking. Hearing Ino use that suffix after his name made him go crazy. "Oh, I intend to," Naruto replied with his foxy grin. They just made out and cuddled to sleep. Training Ground 21. Suna. "I was 8 when it happened," Sasuke said. They had come out here to train, but Sasuke was too distracted. Sasuke had put up the barrier before training so they could train with their masks off. He sat down next to Aiko. "Sasuke, you don't have to tell me if you don't want to," Aiko said. "No, Aiko-chan. I have to get this off my chest. And you deserve to know," Sasuke replied. "Itachi was just 13 when he murdered my whole clan. When I arrived home, I saw him looking at the lifeless bodies of our parents. The whole clan was massacred that night. He told me that he killed the whole clan just to test his powers. After that night, I became cold and distant. A part of me couldn't believe that Itachi had done this. The only people that he did not kill were Izumi-chan and me. He told us both that we were not worthy of killing." Shortly after, Izumi-chan left the Leaf Village to find Itachi. After that, I made killing Itachi my goal. I decided to avenge my clan by any means possible, which led to Orochimaru taking advantage of me. He showed her the curse mark on his neck. I was just about to reach Otogekure when Naruto and I fought. Midway through our battle, he shined us away from the Valley of the End. A tear slipped from Sasuke's eyes. That day, Naruto saved me. He told me the truth about the Uchiha massacre. It was planned by the village elders and civilian council against the will of the Hokage. Danzo, one of the village elders, was the one who ordered my brother to kill our clan, or he'd send someone else and kill the whole clan including me. He killed our clan just for me. That was the day I decided to get revenge on the Leaf and Danzo. Naruto could not go back to the Leaf as Danzo was planning to lock him up or kill him and seal the Kyuubi into another person. The civilian council wanted to banish him. So that day we decided to go Rouge. Naruto wanted to get rid of the village elders and civilian council, while I wanted to have my revenge by killing Danzo. Both of us wanted peace. While his reasons are unknown, I wanted peace as I didn't want any kid to go through what I went through, Sasuke said, staring off into the distance. "Thank you, Sasuke, for trusting me enough to tell me this," Aiko said. "HN. So anyway, what do you think about Naruto's girlfriend?" Sasuke asked, breaking the silence. "She's nice. She's really powerful too. Fighting alongside her felt really natural. Although I don't know much about her. We haven't had a proper conversation, but I would like to change that," Aiko replied. "Well, she was one of the only 2 girls who were not my fangirls," Sasuke admitted. "Wait, you had fangirls?" Aiko began laughing, and Sasuke would never admit it out loud, but it was the most beautiful sound that he had ever heard. "You're telling me that you, with your duckbutt hair and a scowl on your face, Had fangirls. My hair does not look like a duck's butt. Sasuke slightly scowled. I was the hottest guy in our academy. Yeah. Right, she said sarcastically, before laughing again at the mental image of a little Sasuke with duck butt hair. Stop laughing. Sasuke grumbled. Ah, is little Sasuke sad? Aiko asked, poking his cheek. No. Sasuke flipped her over and sat slightly over her stomach, in an attempt to keep her from laughing at him. Aiko blushed suddenly, realizing the position they were in. Sasuke leaned in a bit, both of them maintaining their eye contact. Sasuke realized what he was about to do, and before he could do anything to stop it, Aiko broke the eye contact. Fine. I'll stop laughing. Now get off me. You're heavy, Aiko said. HN. Sasuke said, getting up. He was a bit disappointed but didn't show it. It's getting pretty late now, so let's call it a day and head home, Aiko said, avoiding the Uchiha's gaze. HN. You go on. I still have to buy tomatoes, Sasuke said. Mind if I tag along? Aiko asked expectantly. Sure. Let's go. The two headed towards the markets of Suna, forgetting what almost happened a few moments ago. The next day, the Hidden Leaf. Team 10 had just entered the Hokage office to give their mission report. I see that you have returned, but what about Kakashi and Ino? Where are they? Said Tsunade, slightly worried about her student. Asuma stepped forward. Team 10 reporting back from their sand mission to save the Kazekage. The mission was a success. We were directly headed toward the Akatsuki hideout, but were stopped by a clone of Kisame Hashigaki of the Akatsuki. We defeated him. Nico had sent out one of his cats to lead us to them. We followed one of Cat to the Akatsuki hideout. There we split off into teams. Kakashi and Nico took care of Deidara of the Akatsuki and finished him off. Tsunade's eyes widened after hearing that one of the Akatsuki members were killed. Kitsune fixed Kazekage-sama's seal, saving the Kazekage, while Ino and Suzume finished off Sasori. Tsunade was surprised to hear that two of the Akatsuki members were taken down. 3 years back, when two Akatsuki members had invaded the Hidden Leaf, they had injured 3 jonin without even trying. Shizune. Bring me the bingo book. She wanted to check if the bingo book had any information on the 3. Here, milady, Shizune said, giving her the bingo book. Tsunade skimmed through the pages of the bingo book and found the 3. Name, unknown. He goes by the name Kitsune. Age, 16 to 17. Gender, male. Origin, unknown. Clan, unknown, but is seen to be wearing clothing with Senju or Uzumaki clan symbols. The unofficial leader of Team Yuzu, consisting of himself, Nico, and Suzume. Ninja rank, high jonin or low kage. Physical description, 5 feet 11 inches tall. Has azure blue eyes and golden blonde hair. The rest of his face is covered by a mask that has the face of a fox on it. Elements, efficient in using all of the 5 elements, but prefers earth style, water style, and wind style. He has the ability to perform huge water-style jutsus that need a water source nearby by using water vapor in the air, just like the second Hokage. Kekkei Genkai element is unknown. Rank, S rank. Approach with caution if he's alone. Flee on sight unless you are a Kage if he's with Team Yuzu. Special talents. Is a level 10 seal master and a powerful sensor. Summon, unknown. Bounty 100 million Ryo. Alive of dead stationed by Amigakure. Name, real name is unknown. He goes by the name Nico. Age, 16 to 17. Gender, male. Origin, unknown. Clan, Uchiha clan. A part of Team Yuzu, consisting of himself, Kitsune, and Suzume. Ninja rank, high jonin or low kage. Physical description, 5 feet 10 inches tall. Has black eyes which turn into the Sharingan and jet black hair. The rest of his face is covered by a mask that has a face of a black cat on it. Elements, efficient in using all of the 5 elements, but prefers to use fire style and lightning style. He is a master of shape manipulation of lightning chakra. Rank, S rank. Approach with caution if he's alone. Flee on sight unless you are a Kage if he's with Team Yuzu. Special talents. Level 4 Seal Master. A master of Genjutsu because of his Sharingan. Is also proficient in medical ninjutsu. Summon, cats. Bounty, 100 million Rio, alive or dead, stationed by Amigakure. 50 million Rio, alive by Otogakure. Name, real name is unknown. She goes by the name Suzume. Age, 15 to 16. Gender, female. Origin, unknown. Clan, unknown, but is seen to be wearing clothes with the Uzumaki clan symbol. A part of Team Yuzu, consisting of herself, Kitsune and Nico, is the younger sister of Kitsune. Ninja rank, High Jonin. Physical description, 5 feet 7 inches tall. Has brown eyes and medium-length red hair. The rest of her face is covered by a mask that has a face of a sparrow on it. Elements. Her main elements are fire style and water style, and she can perform a few lightning style jutsus. Rank, a rank. Approach with caution if she's alone. Flee on sight unless you are a Kage if she is with Team Yuzu. Special talents. Is rumored to have the boil release. Is an excellent sensor. Summon, unknown. Bounty, 75 million Rio, alive or dead, by Amigakure. Continue, Tsunade said looking up from the book. Due to Ino's battle with Kisame and Sasori, she fainted due to chakra exhaustion and is currently resting in the hidden sand. Kakashi's team was not required at all, so they were sent back with us. Kakashi is also staying in the hidden sand, and he will accompany Ino back to the hidden leaf. Asuma finished off. All right, thank you Asuma for your mission report. I will need the written report for the same till the end of this week. All of them nodded their heads. All of you are dismissed, except you, Asuma. Everyone except Asuma left the building. Tell me all of the information you managed to gather on the Akatsuki and Team Yuzu. Asuma sighed. There is not much that I can tell you about Team Yuzu that is not already known, as I did not fight alongside them. The Akatsuki. Well, this is all I managed to gather about them. Asuma handed Tsunade a piece of paper which she burnt as soon as she read it. Both of them knew that there was a chance that they were spied upon by root ninjas. Asuma, you are dismissed. Asuma left the building, lighting a cigarette on his way. Tsunade was deep in thought after reading the note. The note had the location where Sasori was supposed to meet his spy that was spying on Orochimaru. Sighing, she finally came to a decision. Shizune, send a hawk to Kakashi in the hidden sand. She said, writing a letter to Team Yuzu asking for their assistance in the mission. She then handed over the letter to Shizune, who sent it to Suna. The hidden stone. The hidden stone was in shock after hearing that one of their finest Rouge shinobi, Deidara, had been killed. Did you just say that Deidara has been killed, or am I going deaf? Inoki, the Sandaime Tsuchikage, asked. You definitely heard it right, Gramps. Deidara has been killed by Kakashi of the Sharingan and Nico of Team Yuzu. Kuratsuchi said, sadness evident in her voice. Before betraying the hidden stone, he was her idol and one of Iwa's best shinobi. Send a letter to Team Yuzu. Tell them that we would like to sign a peace treaty with them. He knew that Team Yuzu had peace treaties with the Hidden Mist, Hidden Sand, Hidden Hot Water, and the Hidden Grass villages. Not wanting to stay behind, he gave this order. The Hidden Cloud. Tensions were high in the Hidden Cloud. Their two-tails Jinchuriki, Yujito Ni, had been captured by the Akatsuki, and hearing the news about Team Yuzu saving the one-tailed Jinchuriki, Kazekage Gaara was just adding insult to injury. The Raikage had been adamant on not signing a peace treaty with them until they showed him their faces, for which he now felt guilty. Darui, send a letter to Team Yuzu, asking them to sign a peace treaty with us. He had already lost one of his Jinchuriki, and the other one was his younger brother, Killer B. Though Killer B was a perfect Jinchuriki, he didn't want to take any chances. Hi, Raikage-sama. Darui, his right-hand man, replied. The next day, the hidden sand, the five were at the gates of Suna. Kakashi had spent the last day resting. Aiko and Ino had spent the day getting to know each other better, and Naruto and Sasuke were busy destroying another one of Suna's training ground by going all out. Needless to say, they both arrived home looking like they had been in a war. The five were bidding the Sand siblings goodbye. Goodbye, Kitsune, and thank you for saving me, Gaara said awkwardly, taking his hand out to shake Kitsune's hand. Goodbye, Gaara, and perhaps try to talk and form a friendship with Shikaku, Kitsune said, shaking Gaara's hand, smiling slightly under his mask. Gaara simply nodded his head. Just as the five were about to leave, Kakashi and Ino for the Hidden Leaf and Team Yuzu for their home near Yuzushio. A hawk landed on Kakashi's shoulder and gave him a letter. As soon as Kakashi received the letter, the hawk flew. Kakashi read the letter and passed it to Kitsune. We are leaving for the Hidden Leaf. They need our help in a mission, and I think we might also be able to sign a peace treaty with them. The other two nodded in agreement. Guess I'll have to tell you soon, Kakashi-sensei. Bachan. He thought while leaving with the other four to the Hidden Leaf. Flashback. A 9-year-old Naruto is seen to be dragging along a 9-year-old Ino. Whiskers. Where are we going? Ino asked him, slightly panting. It's a surprise, Ino-chan. Here. Climb on my back, he said after noticing Ino's tiredness. Ino blushed slightly before jumping on his back. Hold on tight, Naruto said, carrying Ino piggyback style. Ino tightened her arms around him before he jumped from building to building, heading towards the Hokage stone faces. He stopped on the top of the head of the fourth Hokage. He gently placed Ino down. We're here. This is beautiful, Ino said, looking down, while Naruto was busy spreading one of his sheets. The village looked so tiny and peaceful. The view was absolutely breathtaking. Ino-chan, come on, lie down, he said, patting next to him. He was lying on the sheet with one of his hands under his head for support. Ino silently lied down next to him. I brought you out here today for stargazing. I hope you like it. I already like it, Whiskers, she said with a smile on her face. She was really happy that Naruto had planned all of this for her. Hey, Ino-chan, why do you call me Whiskers? He asked, tilting his head sideways in a questioning gaze. Because you have cute whiskers on your cheek and I like calling you Whiskers, Ino said without thinking. I should have a nickname for you too, you know? Ino hummed in response. What about Flower Girl? Because you like flowers a lot, he said with a thoughtful expression. Ino giggled at the nickname. Yeah, that suits me, she said. The stars are really beautiful tonight, but I don't know the names of any of them, she said, slightly embarrassed. I don't know any either, but I'd like to think that those two stars are named Ino and Naruto, he said, pointing towards the two brightest ones in the sky. Because no matter how far they actually are, whenever I'll look at them, they will always be right by each other's side, he said. Ino could see the sincerity in his blue orbs and couldn't help but blush. You're a dork, you know, she said with a wide smile. I know, but I am your dork, he replied, and heard Ino chuckling in response. That you are, she said, turning her gaze from the stars to him. I'd like to believe those stars are us too, Whiskers, she said, intertwining her fingers with his. So, which is Ino? Flashback end. The gates of the Hidden Leaf Village. It's been a while since we've been here, huh, Nico? Kitsune asked, looking at the Konoha gates. HN. They still have Izumo and Kotetsu as the gatekeepers, Nico whispered back, looking at the eternal guards. They had finally reached Konoha. The five then entered the gates and were escorted to the Hokage Tower, and the five, except Kitsune, were now inside Tsunade's office. Kitsune jumped inside the office using the window, and immediately, four Umbu guards appear around him with their swords at his neck. I wouldn't do that if I were you, Kitsune says, smirking under his mask. Umbu, stand down, Tsunade shouts from her desk. The four Umbu shun Shin away. Ino, congratulations on completing your first S-rank mission. You must be tired, so take some rest and tell me more about it tomorrow. Hi, Shursho, Ino says, bowing slightly and leaving the room. Kakashi, I expect the whole written report of the mission on my desk at the end of this week. Dismissed. Actually, Hokage-sama, would it okay if Kakashi stays during our meeting? Kitsune says. All right, Tsunade says, narrowing her gaze. Nico, show Suzume-chan around the village and seal 75 bowls of miso ramen from Ichiraku's. HN, he said before leaving with Suzume. He was a bit happy on the inside that he did not have to sit through another meeting. Didn't think that you were actually here, Kitsune, Jiraiya said, hopping into Tsunade's office. He had arrived in the Hidden Leaf a few days ago and had heard that Kitsune was going to be in the Hidden Leaf, so decided to stay for a little while and meet his student. Amigakure raised the bounty on your head by 100 million. I've stopped looking at the bingo book, so don't really know the last bounty on my head. He replied. Hokage-sama, could you ask your umbu to leave us for alone? I have pretty serious matters to discuss. He said, looking at Tsunade. Tsunade gave a signal and all of her umbu left. Have all of your umbu left? Tsunade nodded in agreement. He then threw Senbon at 5 hidden root ninjas. Nico had taught him how to use Senbon to temporarily paralyze ninjas and render them unconscious. He cursed Danzo under his breath and threw the unconscious umbu into another room, while Tsunade was watching in awe and Kakashi was talking to Jiraiya about his new book. Well, I am putting up my barrier, so none of Danzo's clowns can hear us. Hope that's okay with you, Hokage-sama. Tsunade just gave a small nod of agreement and Kitsune put up his barrier. Well, now is as good a time as any, he murmured, taking off his mask. Surprise! As soon as Tsunade saw Naruto's face, her posture stiffened. There was a whirlwind of emotions going on inside of her. A small gasp escaped her lips and tears of happiness welled up in her eyes after seeing the face of Naruto, who she thought of as her son. Naruto, she whispered softly. She had never felt so torn between punching someone and hugging them instead. Hi, Bachan, he said, coming closer to her. He could see a lot of emotions in her eyes, happiness and hurt being the two main. He saw her curling her hand into a fist. Oh no, here it comes. Kurama, save me. He thought. He knew that he was going to get punched. He knew that was going to be her reaction. What he didn't expect was to be pulled into a hug. She hugged him tightly. I'm sorry, Bachan. Tsunade pinned him to the wall behind him. You disappear for 3 fucking years, letting all of us think that you are dead and then show up. A sorry isn't going to cut it, she said, raising the fist of her free hand inches away from Naruto. Do you want to tell me why the fuck did you hide this from me for 3 years? She threatened him. Naruto was scared shitless. He could go against one of the most elite ninja fearlessly, but he was still extremely scared of Tsunade. I thought Pervy Sage told you, he hastily said. His eyes widened after he finally registered what he had said. Tsunade turned to Jiraiya with a terrifying glare. You knew. Jiraiya started sweating bullets while Tsunade headed towards him. Kami, save me, he thought, closing his eyes and bracing for impact. He knew that he could not escape Naruto's barrier. Kakashi was just enjoying the show. Bachan, I told him not to tell you. I am sorry, but if I had contacted you, then the council and Danzo would have killed me and would have stripped you off your position of Hokage. Just let me explain the whole story and who my teammates are. You two listen closely, Kakashi-sensei. With that, Naruto starts explaining everything from the time he got the memories of his shadow clone. The Uchiha district, the Hidden Leaf Village. This used to be my house. Sasuke pointed to the biggest house in the district. They had come here after buying Naruto's ramen. He knew that he could say anything here and no one would hear them. No one even visited this place after that night. But he did not use any names, just in case anyone was to hear them. My father was the head of the Uchiha police force and Uchiha clan at that time. He was a very strict man. He always compared me to my brother. All I wanted to do when I was young was to make him proud by surpassing Nissan. But it seems as if I can never surpass him, he said. Suzume understood that Nico wasn't talking about power or skill. My mother, she was one of the strongest kunoichi of the Uchiha clan, but retired after marrying my father. She always had a smile on her face and had the kindest heart. She would train me whenever Nissan was too busy on missions and cheer me up whenever I couldn't do a new jutsu that Otusan taught me. Nico said with a sad smile on his face. He did not know why he was telling Suzume things that he had never told other people, but somehow telling her just felt right. She sounds really nice. I wish I could meet her, Suzume said. She had never seen this side of Nico before and she definitely liked it. I wish that she could have met you too. She would have really liked you, Nico said with one of his rare, genuine smiles under his mask. Suzume was so busy thinking that she did not notice Nico walking away. Hurry up, Nico said, snapping Suzume out of trance. She jogged up to Nico, walking alongside him. They stopped at a lake with a dock. This is the Uchiha dock. Otusan taught me the fire style. Fireball jutsu here, he said, walking towards the end of the dock. I bet that I can make a bigger fireball than you, he said, slightly teasing the younger redhead. I'll make you eat those words, Uchiha. Is that so? Uzumaki, watch this, he said, slightly lifting up his mask, only revealing his lips. Fire style. Fireball jutsu, he said, making a tiger hand sign. The three had reduced the number of hand signs for each jutsu. He blew out a massive fireball, almost covering the whole lake. Suzume was in awe after seeing the size of his fireball. I remember someone saying that she would make me eat my words. Nico smirked at the gaping Suzume before lowering his mask. I still think that I can beat you, she said, lifting her mask. Fire style. Fireball jutsu, she said, making a tiger hand sign and gathering a large amount of chakra in her lungs. She took a few seconds before blowing an even bigger fireball. Seems like I won, Uchiha, she said before lowering her mask. Not quite, you just won one round. There are 2 more rounds left, fire style, grand fireball jutsu, and fire style. Great fire annihilation round. Loser treats winner to a snack. Nico said, You're on, Uchiha. There was no way Suzume was going to let him beat her. The Hokage's office, the Hidden Leaf Village. Fucking council, Tsunade said, smashing her fist through her desk, breaking it instantly. She was never the one to cuss this much, but with all that was going on, she couldn't contain herself. Well, the good news is that you can entirely prohibit the civilian council from taking part in the village matters, Naruto said, walking towards where Tsunade's broken desk was. He made a hand sign and wood started growing out of his hand, shaping itself into the shape of another bigger desk. Tsunade and Kakashi watched this with wide eyes. This won't break easily, he said. He had told Tsunade who Nico and Suzume really were, along with his efforts to attain peace by signing peace treaties with other villages, leaving out some parts that he did not want to tell her. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I have the wood style. Just found out about it recently. This means I can officially call you Bachan. After all, I am a senju, he added after looking at their shocked faces. I need a cup of sake. This is too much to take in, she said, sighing slightly. Anyway, what were you saying about the civilian council? Oh yeah, I officially got the permission from the fire daimyo to ban the civilian council from taking part in shinobi affairs. Here, he said, throwing a scroll at Tsunade, who caught it without even looking. She opened and read the scroll while Naruto started spinning one of his kunai in his hand. Tsunade's eyes widened after reading the scroll. This also gives me full permission to execute any of the village elders if they go against my wish or work behind my back, she said. She was fed up of the village elders controlling her and making decisions without asking her. Hi, Bachan. Just announce this in the next meeting after we leave for the Sasori mission, Naruto said. But now I have to ask you an important question, Bachan, Jiraiya-sensei. Both of them knew he was serious as he called Jiraiya-sensei instead of Pervy Sage. According to my intel, Orochimaru is currently in a state to change his body again, and I want to ask if it would be okay if we killed Orochimaru if we ran into him? You two were his teammates, so just wanted to ask for your permission. He finished off. One of Konoha's best restaurants. Anajirai and Okaka. Nico said to the waiter. The smug smirk was evident in his voice. Wipe that annoying smirk off your face, Suzume said in an annoyed voice. She could have won if she'd not slipped off the dock and fallen into the water while doing the fire style. Great fire annihilation. She knew that Nico had something to do with her falling in the water. Hey, no need to be a sore loser, Nico said with a chuckle. I am not a sore loser. I swear if I would not have fallen into the water, I would have won. But you know, luck was on your side, so you won. Sure, Nico said sarcastically. Your order is ready, sir, the waiter said, snapping them out of their argument. Ah yes, the bill will be paid by the lady, Nico said cheerfully, accepting the takeout Anajirai and Okaka, while Suzume handed the money to the waiter, leaving a generous tip. Eat that later. Now let's go to the Hokage Tower. Anija might need help, Suzume said softly, smiling after seeing Nico in a happy. Nico simply nodded happily, sealing his precious Onigiri and Okaka. The Hokage office, the Hidden Leaf Village. All right, Kitsune said. Tsunade was fine with him killing Orochimaru, but Jiraiya was a bit skeptical. But deep down, even he knew that Orochimaru was too lost and couldn't be saved, so in the end he agreed. Kitsune's posture stiffened after sensing a chakra signature. Okay, my time is up. Danzo is approaching us, so I am taking down the barrier. Please just don't tell anyone that I'm alive and call me Kitsune as soon as we are outside the barrier, he said, putting his mask back on again. We understand, Naruto, and I swear that none of us will tell anyone anything, Tsunade said sincerely. She turned her gaze to Kakashi, who also nodded in agreement with a serious look on his face. Thank you, Bachan Kakashi-sensei, he said before dropping the barrier. According to his senses, Danzo would take a few minutes to reach the Hokage Tower. Kakashi, you are dismissed, Tsunade said, giving him an opportunity to leave before Danzo arrived. Jareni. He waved his hand before disappearing in a shunshin, just as Nico and Suzume appeared in a shunshin. I hope you have told Hokage-sama all that she needs to know, Nico said. Kitsune replied with a simple yes, waiting for the old war hawk to arrive. The door to the Hokage office opened, revealing a man with one of his arms in a sling and his left eye was covered up with bandages. He was using a cane as support to walk and had a weird X scar on his chin. Nico's jaw tightened and he was fuming at the sight of the man who killed off his clan. Suzume seemed to notice this and slowly held his hand as if to say that she was here for him, to calm him down. Nico seemed to calm down, but his mind was filled with ways to torture and kill Danzo. Kitsune-sama, Nico-sama, and Suzume-sama. I am Danzo, one of the village elders. I think I know the reason for your arrival. Danzo spoke in an authoritative tone. Didn't come here to meet you, that's for sure, Kitsune replied bluntly. His words did not please Danzo at all, but Danzo decided to continue anyways. I know about the mission concerning Sasuke's spy, and I want one of my ninjas, Toryun, to accompany you, he ordered. Not happening, Kitsune said in a sing-song voice. Jiraiya and Tsunade were stifling their laughter with coughs. You dare come into my village and mock me? I tried to approach you politely, but now I think that I have to use force. You will take off that mask and reveal your true identities along with your intentions. If you do not agree, I have an army of ninja at my command, and we will capture you by force and force the information out of you, Danzo said, tired of playing around. Kitsune started chuckling at the man. First off, this is not your village, you are not the Hokage. And secondly, haven't you heard that we took down 2 Akatsuki members? Even so, I don't think our allies will appreciate you capturing us. You will be declaring war over 2 of the 5 great nations along with a bunch of small villages. Kitsune walked towards Danzo and stopped a few inches away from him. And I don't think that you would want the world to know about the dirty work that you are doing. Do you want everyone to know about the incident that took place a few months ago at the Hidden Waterfall Village? Danzo winced at this. You may be the one sending spies, but we are the ones that have dirt on you. Tell me one thing, have any of those spies returned? Know your place, Danzo, especially when you know nothing about your enemy. Danzo scowled at this. He knew that Kitsune had got him there. As much as I would love to fight and bicker with you, I have more important things to do. I am on a tight schedule and I actually came to talk to Hokage-sama, he said, moving away from Danzo and walking towards Tsunade. Nico just smirked under his mask. His best friend sure had a special way to embarrass and insult someone. Danzo left the room, shaking with rage and slamming the door on his way out. Tsunade could not hold it in any longer. She burst out laughing. You sure have a way with your words, brat Kitsune. I don't remember the last time someone had shut Danzo up. She corrected herself. How'd I do, sensei? He asked Jiraiya, not calling him pervy sage purposely. You did good, brat. You handled him just as he used to, Jiraiya said with a smile on his face. Kitsune understood that he was talking about his dad and was happy at the compliment. Anyway, what kind of team would you like? Tsunade said, getting back to business. Nico, what kind of team do we want? Kitsune asked. He had no idea as to what kind of people he wanted. As far as he was concerned, Team Yuzu was already an all-rounded team. HN. Give us 2 strong ninja that can hold their own in one-on-one combat but are very good information gatherers. Nico said nonchalantly, "Yeah, that'll do." Kitsune said, nodding his head. "Okay. Where will you be staying for the time being?" Tsunade asked. "We have a hideout close to the village, so we'll be staying there. We will come back in a day to meet the team and leave for the mission." Kitsune said he wanted to live here in the Leaf Village, but being here while Danzo was still the head of the route was very risky. "Okay, Jiraiya and I will see you off at the gates of the village," Tsunade said with a smile. She knew his reasons for not staying in the Leaf. They bid Tsunade and Jiraiya goodbye at the gates of the village before leaving the Hidden Leaf Route headquarters. "Fu, I want you to send 5 teams of 3 people after Team Yuzu and the Konoha ninjas when they leave for the mission," Danzo said from his stone throne to his most trusted root ninja. He wanted to gain the upper hand against Kitsune. He was still outraged at Kitsune for insulting him. Also, tell them not to attack the group until they are sure that the group is weak and observe from a distance. If they fight Team Yuzu, however, tell them to try and capture Kitsune's little sister. She will be the easiest to capture, and I can blackmail Kitsune to give me all the information he has and fully control him if I have his sister. "Hi, Danzo-sama," Fu said, bowing and leaving Danzo alone. "I will get you back for belittling me, Kitsune," he thought sadistically. Flashback. A few months after Chunin exams. It had been 2 months after the two had found Aiko and decided to take her in. She had slowly started to warm up to Naruto and Sasuke. She had started to form a somewhat brotherly bond with Naruto but had little to no interaction with the Uchiha. Something about Naruto had been bugging her lately and she decided to finally ask it today. She headed to the rooftop of their house as she knew that Naruto mostly spends his nights on the roof. She saw Naruto looking at the stars with his hands behind his head. "Do you need something, Aiko-chan?" he said softly, turning his head towards Aiko. "I wanted to ask you something, Naruto," she said nervously. "Sure. Ask me anything," he said, gesturing her to lie down next to him. "Why do you hate Konoha's civilian council and village elders?" she asks, cutting to the chase. "You don't have to answer it if you don't want to," she added quickly. A sigh escapes Naruto's lips. He knew that he had to tell her one day. "Okay, I'll tell you my whole story," he said, getting up. Aiko nodded in agreement. "Well, I think I will have to tell you everything from the beginning. Growing up, I was an orphan, so stayed in the orphanage until I was 4. At the age of 4, I was kicked out of the orphanage, and so the 3rd Hokage gave me an apartment to live in. From the beginning I knew I was different because the whole village hated me. They sometimes beat the crap out of me and trashed my apartment. At that time I used to think it was something that I did when I was really young or something that my parents did, so I did everything I could to grab their attention and make them look at them differently. I started out by being really nice to people, but that did not change their opinion about me, so I started playing pranks on people. I finally found out why people hated me when I was 6 years old." Naruto focused his gaze on Aiko. "But before I tell you, promise me that you won't hate me. During the past 2 months, I come to think of you as my little sister and I don't want lose you," he said, slightly worried about telling Aiko truth. Over the past 2 months he had done a pretty good job of hiding Kurama's chakra from her while training, as he barely even needed to use it while on missions. At first Aiko was confused as to why would she hate him. What had Naruto done that would make him think that she would hate him? She could see the fear in the older boy's eyes, and she nodded silently in agreement. "When I was 6 on my birthday, some of the villagers had gathered and had beaten me till I was almost dead. That day I discovered that I was hated because the 9-tailed fox was sealed inside me. I hate the civilian council as they were the ones that revealed that about me. The 3rd Hokage had made it an S-rank secret, but the civilian council went behind his back and announced it to the whole village," he said, looking down. Before he could realize, he was tackled into a hug. "You're an idiot if you think I would hate you for that," she said, her voice slightly muffled against Naruto's chest. She knew who Jinchurikis were as she had met one of them named Han. She finally understood what that red chakra was that Naruto used to train with. Aiko knew that the 9 tails was the most powerful tailed beast out there and was thankful to Naruto for keeping it at bay. "I would never hate you for something that wasn't your fault, Anija. And the civilian council better watch out, I will make them pay for doing that to you. Naruto was happy at first when Aiko accepted him for who he was and didn't hate him, but after hearing her calling him a ninja, he became even happier. You know, when someone is hugging you, you should hug them back, Aiko said, slightly pouting against his chest. Sorry, Aiko-chan, he said, wrapping her in a bear hug and resting his chin on the top of her head. And, thank you. He now had one more person to protect, one more person to get stronger for. From that day onwards, she became his little sister. Flashback end. The Hokage's office. Hidden Leaf Village. One of the two accompanying you will be Yamato, one of my personal umbu. Tsunade says, pointing towards a man with brown hair and big black eyes. She had personally picked Yamato as he was one of her most trusted umbu. He looks kind of creepy. Kitsune whispers to Suzume, who is standing right next to him, while Nico is glaring at the window because of a certain someone who is also present. Shut up, Anija. We are not here to judge people. We are on a mission. She scolds him. Moving on, you can choose the second member from these. Tsunade says, walking towards the 5 ninja standing there. Shikamaru Nara. He is the Jonin of the Nara clan and has one of the sharpest minds in the Hidden Leaf. She says, pointing to the pineapple head, who is standing with a bored expression. Or Kiba Inuzuka, Chunin of the Inuzuka clan and one of the best trackers of Konoha. He can also handle his own in battle. She says, pointing to a brunette boy, who had a smile on his face and was busy petting his dog. Or Niji Hyuga, Jonin and prodigy of the Hyuga clan. He is also one of the best trackers due to his Byakugan and specializes in the Hyuga clan taijutsu. She pointed a boy who had long hair and pale lavender eyes and was standing there with a blank expression on his face. Kitsune nodded his head. Tsunade-sensei, aren't you forgetting someone? A pink-haired girl, who was also the reason for the disturbance in Nico's mood, asked with an innocent expression, which was fooling no one. Tsunade let out a long sigh before continuing. The Civilian Council has recommended Sakura Haruno, the genin daughter of the current head of the Civilian Council, Mabuki Haruno. She is an okay fighter and medic, I guess. Nico scoffed. Before anyone could continue, the door of the Hokage office slammed open, revealing a platinum blonde Yamanaka. Sorry for being late, Shirsho, Ino said, bowing her head slightly to Tsunade. Tsunade smiled at her apprentice and Kitsune was barely able to stop himself from kissing her. It's fine, Ino. I wasn't actually expecting you to accept this mission after the last mission that you had, but I am glad that you are here. Tsunade turned to Team Yuzu. This Ino Yamanaka, recently promoted to Jonin after completing an S-rank mission of the Yamanaka clan. She is my personal student and has already mastered a lot of Yamanaka clan jutsus and is one of the best, if not the best Earth-style users in Konoha. Tsunade said proudly. I personally recommend her for this mission. Tsunade-sensei, why waste your breath and recommend Ino Pig? We all know that they are going to choose me. After all, I am the strongest out of all of these ninja. Sakura said smugly. Oh hell no. I choose anyone except this pink trash. Plus, you're the only genin out of these and got your ass handed to you by Ino in the Chunin exams. Nico said. After all of these years, she still is annoying and useless. He thought before continuing. The Nara is a no. Kitsune can mostly come up with a plan when under pressure, but if he fails to, I can come up with one. The Inuzuka is a no, as my cats are fast trackers and I don't think that we will need the Hyuga, he said with a sigh. He was careful not to use their first names. We certainly don't need the bubblegum as she is a weak medic and I am better than her in medical ninjutsu. So, we will take the Yamanaka as she can establish a mind link which will make communicating easier if needed. She also helped us out in the last mission, so it will be easier for us to work as a team. After hearing this, Kitsune was barely able to keep his voice neutral. Meet us at the gates of the village in an hour, he exclaimed before jumping out of the window and wandering off to God knows where. The gates of the Hidden Leaf Village, an hour later. Hope, I am not late, Ino said, arriving at the gates of the Leaf Village. Nico, Suzume, and Yamato were already waiting there. Not really. Anija hasn't arrived yet, Suzume said. A few minutes later, the blonde of the group arrived. You're late, Dobe. Sorry. I just got lost in the village, Kitsune said, rubbing the back of his head. He was actually busy talking to Jiraiya, who told Kitsune to send a messenger toad to him if they ran into too much trouble with Orochimaru. Anyways, I got your onigiri, okaka, and fresh tomatoes, he said, throwing a scroll at Nico. And your sushi, he said, throwing a scroll at Suzume. That was a pathetic excuse, but I will let it go because you got me this, Nico said, pocketing his scroll. Now that we are all here, we should leave quickly. We have to reach the meeting point at noon tomorrow. The four simply nodded. I will be the front, Ino-chan will be behind me, followed by Yamato, followed by Suzume with Nico at the back. Okay. The four nodded and left the village in the said formation. That night, well, so does anyone have a plan? Nico asked, resting his hands on the table. They were currently staying the night in a hotel. They were in a room that Kitsune had secured using his barrier. I think that a ninja should lead and be henged as Sasori, as his henge is almost perfect and really hard to detect, Suzume said. The three had removed their masks and were currently wearing Kakashi-styled masks. Yamato and Nico will be hidden on the right side, while Ino and I will be hidden on the left. After a ninja gives us the signal, we will engage the enemy in combat, she said confidently. Sounds good, Suzume, Kitsune said. Does everyone agree? He asked, to which everyone just shook their heads. Perfect. Now let's have dinner, he said, summoning a few scrolls from the storage seal on his hand and taking down his barrier. Freshen up while I set the table. Mind if I help you? Ino asked with a smirk on her face. Not at all, he said, while the other three left. As soon as the three left, Kitsune took his kunai and perfectly slit his mask where his lips were supposed to be, so the mask would cover up everything except his lips. Ino was quick to capture his lips with hers, as she pinned him to the wall. The one kiss quickly turned into a make-out session. I've been waiting to kiss you, he said, smiling into the kiss. I've been waiting too, she said, smiling back. Get a room, lovebirds, Suzume said, entering the room. We plan on getting one later, Kitsune said bluntly. Shut up, Ino said with a blush on her face, hitting Kitsune on the chest. But it's true, he exclaimed. Anyways, Nico and Yamato will be here soon, so you better start setting up the table and save the rest for later, Suzume chimed in. I'll help you too, because clearly you two have no self-control, she said, jokingly mocking them. The three started setting up the table, while Kitsune and Ino sneaked glances at each other. Suzume saw it but didn't stop them, as she thought that it was cute. Yamato and Nico entered the room just as the three had finished setting up the table. Yamato-san, what do you want for dinner? Kitsune asked. Teriyaki tofu and chicken curry with rice, Yamato replied. Coming right up, he said, unsealing the teriyaki tofu and chicken curry with rice in front of Yamato. Careful, the food is really hot, he warned before moving on. Yamato's mouth watered at this. Sushi for Suzume and yaki onigiri with okaka for Nico, he said, placing the food in front of the two before heading off towards Ino, where he simply unsealed 50 bowls of ramen. And ramen for Ino and me. Nico and Suzume had also slit their masks as a way to allow them to eat. Ita de kamasu, the five exclaimed before digging in. Yamato's face was full of delight after eating the food. It was the most delicious food that he had eaten. Nico and Suzume savored their food while Kitsune and Ino were in a competition of seeing who ate the most ramen. As soon as Yamato noticed this, his eyes widened. He had never seen two people eat ramen so fast. It's like they dash, but before he could continue, Nico took the words right out of his mouth, inhaling it. We know. You'll get used to it after a while, he muttered without even looking up from his plate. Yamato nodded, before he continued eating his own food, slightly amazed. The five went to their own personal room after finishing dinner. A while later, when Ino was sure that no one was around, she sneaked up to Kitsune's room. Kitsune opened the room, shirtless but with his mask still on. Ino was barely able to stop herself from having a nosebleed at the sight. As soon as he saw Ino, he pulled her inside, closing the door and setting up a barrier around them. You ready to continue where we left off, Whiskers? Ino asked seductively. Of course, he said before capturing her lips in a passionate kiss. They didn't have sex as both of them knew that having sex in a hotel before a mission was a bad idea, and they didn't want to lose their virginities in a hotel where they could be disturbed. But there was a lot of touching. The next morning, the five had left for Tenchi Bridge hours ago and were minutes away from it when Kitsune stopped. I guess this is the part where we split up. But before that, could you confirm if my transformation is right? Suzume, Ino-chan. He asked, making a hand sign while the two nodded. How's this? He asked, transforming into Sasori. You definitely look like him, but your voice should be a bit more. Suzume trailed off, thinking of a way to describe Sasori's voice. Constipated. Okay, Kitsune said before changing his voice. How's this? He asked in Sasori's voice. Perfect, she exclaimed. Now Ino and I will go to the left while Nico and Yamato will go to the left, and we will act if Anija gives us the signal, she said before leaving with Ino towards the left. Soon after, Nico and Yamato also left towards the right. Kitsune sighed before walking away towards the Tenchi Bridge in his disguise. As he approached the bridge, he saw a hooded figure looking off the bridge. It's been a long time, Lord Sasori, the hooded figure said, turning around and lifting up his head, revealing Kabuto. Kitsune's eyes widened at this. He knew that if Kabuto was his spy, then this was surely a trap, but decided to play along anyway. It's been 5 years, hasn't it? He questioned. As soon as the rest of them caught a glimpse of that face, they knew that something was wrong but decided to wait until Kitsune gave the signal. How are you doing? Kitsune asked in Sasori's constipated voice. I've still got the strange sensation from when I remembered who I was after your jutsu broke, he said, looking over the bridge again. I've got some questions for you, Kitsune said, ignoring his previous statement. I don't have much time, so please keep it short, Kabuto said, turning to Sasori again. I risked my life to get here without Orochimaru finding out. I want information on Orochimaru's current hideout and the rest of his active hideouts. We are now in a hideout on a small island on a lake to the north. Kabuto lied. We'll be moving again in 3 days. Suddenly he turned around in an instant, taking out a kunai. Oh, it's just a wild rabbit, he said, turning towards Sasori again, while the pedophilic snake Sannin was grinning from behind the tree. Now would you please hand over the item we talked about last time? I need to get away before Orochimaru finds out I'm her or I'll be killed. In an instant, the snake Sannin appeared behind him, while his snakes wrapped around Kabuto. Sounds like an interesting conversation. Mind if I join in? He asked, licking his lips as his snakes tightened around Kabuto. Kabuto jumped to Sasori's side, escaping all of the snakes and leaving his cloak behind. As soon as he was beside Sasori, he took advantage and smashed Kitsune's hinge. Kitsune jumped upwards, avoiding Sasori's strike. Multiple striking shadow snake. Orochimaru yelled, sending a number of snakes that grabbed Kitsune. Kitsune instantly substituted himself with a log. A fast substitution. You! Could it be? He said, looking at the mask of the man that landed in front of him. Kitsune! He snarled. He hated Kitsune and his damn team. They had destroyed many of his hideouts. Why don't you ask your team to come out too? He said, smirking and licking his lips. Kitsune gave a signal and all 4 appeared behind him. You take care of Kabuto while Nico and I handle Orikipido, he said calmly. Orochimaru snarled at this nickname. Kurama, for tails, he said in his mindscape. Kurama opened one of his eyes and let 4 tails of his chakra flow immediately. Here, Kit, he said before closing his eyes. I'd like to see you try. In a flash, Kitsune appeared in front of Orochimaru, and before he could even comprehend anything, he was clawed in the face that sent him flying away in the forest. Kitsune and Nico followed him there while the 3 engaged with Kabuto. With Kitsune, Nico, and Orochimaru. Orochimaru was on the ground when Kitsune and Nico appeared in front of him. He opened his mouth and thousands of snakes flowed out of it. The snakes opened their mouths and swords started coming out of them. Amaterasu! Nico yelled, activating his Mangekyo Sharingan and covering all of the snakes in black flames, burning them away in an instant. Kit, let me take over. It's been a long time since I've actually fought someone. Okay, Kurama, he said, handing his body to Kurama. Kurama started gathering his chakra for his tailed beast bomb. Nico realized what was going on and jumped away to a tree. Orochimaru's eyes widened at this. Summoning triple Rashomon. He said, summoning 3 demonic gates to save himself from Kitsune's attack. The tailed beast bomb blew away all of the demonic gates. As soon as the smoke cleared, Orochimaru was seen lying face down on the ground. As Kurama was handing back Kitsune the control, Orochimaru's upper half appeared from the ground with the Kusanagi in his mouth. Nico cut Orochimaru in half before the Kusanagi could attack Kitsune. As soon as he cut Orochimaru, the snake Sannin turned into mud, revealing a mud clone. I am too weak to handle them in my current condition. Coming here was a mistake. He thought before running away to his hideout, but he didn't notice Nico's cats following him. You did send one of your cats behind him, didn't you? Kitsune asked. I sent Kara and Kaido. He said, sheathing his wakizashi again. Looks like we will need to head back. Kabuto has company. Kitsune said, before the two headed towards the bridge, with Ino, Suzume, and Yamato. As soon as Kitsune and Nico left, Danzo's 15 root umbu surrounded the 3. Ino and Suzume had taken out 4 umbu each and Yamato had taken out 3. While they were fighting the root umbu who were particularly targeting Suzume, Kabuto escaped. Suddenly, Kitsune and Nico appeared and knocked the rest of the umbu out. Stupid Danzo, I already warned that war hawk. Kitsune muttered, tying off the root umbu. Nico immediately reverse summoned them to Soraku. Then as they were about to leave, Kara appeared. Nico-sama, Kaido and I have located Orochimaru's hideout. Kaido is waiting for us there, she said, climbing up and sitting on Nico's shoulder. I'll lead you there. Thank you, Kara. The 5 left for Orochimaru's hideout in the same formation, but Nico and Kitsune changed places. Orochimaru's hideout was not too far away and the 5 along with Kara had reached it. Seeing them, Kaido also came out of his hiding place and sat down next to Nico's leg. Yamato, stay here with Kaido. You will be our backup, he said while Yamato nodded. Kitsune, Ino, Suzume, Kara and I will infiltrate the hideout and gather as much information as we can. With that, the 5 left. The 4 ninjas and the cat split up after finding 2 paths. Kitsune and Ino headed towards the left while Nico and Suzume headed towards the right. With Nico and Suzume were checking all the rooms on their way to find Orochimaru and information. Meanwhile, Orochimaru was resting in a room due to his last fight. That damn geezer. Due to him, I lost all of my jutsu and my rebirth has been postponed. Losing my next vessel, Sasuke, was another price I had to pay, he said, coughing up blood. Kabuto, prepare my next vessel, he ordered, and Kabuto just nodded in agreement. Soon after he left the room. My rebirth should come soon, he muttered to himself, coughing up some more blood. My rebirth shall make up for this pain, he said, clutching his chest. In an instant, a beam of lightning chakra pierced the door and was sent towards his heart. Orochimaru used his hands to stop the chakra beam from piercing him. The door was then cut down by Nico's wakizashi. Such chakra shape manipulation. Orochimaru's eyes widened. It seems that your time to die has now come, he said, walking towards Orochimaru. Stand back, Suzume. This is my fight, he said after he noticed that Suzume had unsheathed her blade. You are weaker than me, Orochimaru. I guess there was no point in leaving Konoha for you. You only wanted the Sharingan, but Itachi was much more powerful than you, so you sought me out. Guess you were wrong, Mr. Genius of the Sannin, he said, walking towards Orochimaru and climbing up the bed Orochimaru was sleeping on. Perhaps the world did consider you a genius, but you could never reach the level of an Uchiha. Suzume rolled her eyes at this. Your methods of obtaining the power of an Uchiha are laughable at best, he mocked Orochimaru. But you see, I don't need you to become powerful. At this, Orochimaru let out a bitter laugh. You disgust me, he said, cutting Orochimaru. After Orochimaru was cut down, a huge snake made up of 1,000 other snakes came out of the Sannin's mouth and appeared behind Nico. Coo. I finally get the Uchiha, he thought. You've experimented so much, but in the end this is how you turned out? Nico said, facing Orochimaru. Sasuke, the snake yelled, Dozens of snakes tried to bite him, but before they could, he cut them down with his wakizashi. He then tried to cut down the giant snake, but as soon as his wakizashi came in contact with Orochimaru's skin, his sword broke. He swore under his breath, "Chidori, Senbon. Chidori, spear," he said, cutting down the giant snake. "You disappoint me, Orochimaru." As soon as his Mangekyo Sharingan made contact with Orochimaru's snake eye, he was pulled into Orochimaru's dimension. "Where am I?" Nico asked to no one in particular. "This is where the rebirth ritual takes place," Orochimaru said, appearing from under the ground. Within seconds, Nico was surrounded by snakes. "The power of those eyes will be mine." In an instant, Nico shot out his lightning chakra towards all of the snakes, changing their color from white to olive green. "Impossible! This is my dimension," the snake Sannin said, while Nico's chakra snakes took the shape of a big olive-green cat. Nico fully absorbed Orochimaru and killed him. Outside, Suzume and Kara were busy fighting Kabuto. Suddenly, they heard Nico dropping to his knees. Suzume and Kara rushed to help him, and Kabuto took this chance to escape. Suzume had damaged him badly without getting a scratch on herself. "Nico, you okay?" she asked, providing him support and helping him stand. Orochimaru is dead," he said between pants. "Damn bastard broke my chakra wakizashi. I need a new blade," he said, getting up to his feet. They walked towards the end of the corridor where they found a training room. The training room was pretty mediocre, but it had a one-handed katana with a black scabbard handle. Nico immediately picked up the sword. "I guess this will do," he said, replacing the cover of his old wakizashi with this new katana. The two then headed. With Ino and Kitsune, they had searched almost the entire left side of the hideout except the room at the end of the corridor. As soon as they entered the room, their eyes widened in shock at the sight before them. "Holy crap!" both of them said in unison. Flashback. A 5-year-old Ino was just walking home with her father, Inoichi, after collecting flowers for the Yamanaka flower shop. "Dad, this is heavy," Ino whined, dragging her basket full of flowers. "Do you want me to carry it for you?" Inoichi asked, turning around. He had a much larger basket in his hand. "No, I will carry it on my own. After all, I want to become a strong kunoichi," she said with determination. Inoichi sighed at this. Ino was as stubborn as her mother. The two were currently in front of the ninja academy when something caught her eye. "Dad, hold this. I'll be back in a minute," she said, pushing her basket and running towards the tree in front of the academy. There was a blond boy with his head low, and she could see the tears flowing down his cheeks. His eyes were hidden by his hair. She gently approached him and tapped him on his shoulder. "Why are you crying?" she asked softly. The boy looked up, and as soon as he saw her, he wiped his eyes furiously, getting rid of the tears flowing down his cheeks. "No, I'm not crying. I am fine," he said, giving her a fake smile. Ino knew that the smile was fake as soon as she saw it. Her father had taught her how to distinguish fake smiles from real. "Hey, you don't have to put up that smile for me. I know it's fake." "Are you sad?" she asked patiently. Her father had taught her how to deal with these situations when she used to accompany him. The boy was taken aback after hearing her response. He silently nodded. She gently, "What's wrong?" she asked, slightly concerned. The boy looked up, his azure blue eyes meeting her light blue ones. He saw concerned eyes instead of the cold-hearted ones that he was used to. "Why are you being so nice to me and not running away?" he asked, tilting his head a bit in confusion. "Because I want to help you," she answered truthfully. The boy was surprised at this. No one was ever nice to him. He found something that he had lost a long time ago: hope. He found himself wanting to tell her why he was sad, and he found himself trusting her, even if they did meet minutes ago. He finally decided to tell her, "I am sad because everyone hates me. Nobody wants to play with me, because I don't have any friends," he said, whispering out the last bit. Ino's gaze softened. She could see the sadness and loneliness that the eyes held. "Don't worry, they are all idiots. If you want, I can be your friend," she said, sticking out her hand for a handshake. He accepted the handshake, taking her small hand in his. Their hands fitted perfectly together. "I'm Ino Yamanaka," she said, bringing a genuine smile to his face. "I am Naruto Uzumaki." He responded. He felt a warm feeling inside of him. "Oh, we are going to have so much fun, Naruto. Come with me. I want you to meet my dad," she said, pulling his hand and taking him to where her father was standing. "Dad, I made a new friend," she said after stopping in front of her father. Naruto was slightly scared. "Oh, what's your name?" he asked the blonde boy. Naruto Uzumaki," he stuttered out. He was afraid that Inoichi would also hurt him, like the other villagers. Inoichi's gaze softened a bit. He knew Minato and Kushina. Minato was a close friend of his and he wanted to adopt his child, but the civilian council and Danzo denied his request. "Say, Naruto, would you like to join us for ramen?" he asked with a smile on his face. "What's ramen?" Naruto asked. He had never really eaten anything except the fruits and fish that he caught. Whenever he visited a shop to buy anything, the shopkeeper pushed him out of the shop. "Oh, you have never had ramen? Come on, it's really good. I am sure that you will like it," Ino said excitedly. The blonde boy just nodded. The three then set off to Ichiraku Ramen, a restaurant that was bound to become Naruto's favorite. That was a start of their friendship that later turned into something more. End of flashback. Present time, with Ino and Kitsune, Orochimaru's hideout. They had searched almost the entire left side of the hideout except the room at the end of the corridor. As soon as they entered the room, their eyes widened in shock at the sight before them. "Holy crap!" both of them said in unison. The room was full of Orochimaru's failed experiments. A jar of different eyes, some dead snakes trapped in huge glass containers. The two had never seen such a horrifying sight. "Ino-chan, let's divide and conquer. If you find any valuable information, store it in this scroll," Kitsune said, handing her a storage scroll. The two headed off in different directions, trying to find out as much information as they could. After a while of searching, the two had not found out anything that they didn't already know. "Kitsune," Ino called out to the blonde. The blonde appeared seconds later beside her. She quietly pointed towards a door that had a bunch of complicated seals on it. Kitsune understood what she meant and immediately began overwriting or canceling the seals. After a couple of minutes, he finished taking off all of the seals. The two entered the room with an expression of shock on their face. "Orochimaru's private study?" Ino asked and received a nod of confirmation from Kitsune. Kitsune and Ino then started going through Orochimaru's files, books, diaries, records, scanning the whole room for information. The two found out how he had taken all the eyes of the dead Uchiha and used them for his experiment to get the Sharingan, which failed. They also found some of the cells of Hashirama stored in a special container. While Kitsune was going through Orochimaru's experiments on the curse mark, a file caught Ino's eye. Designs and details of past successful experiments. She flipped through some pages that were about his immortality and stopped when her eyes landed on a specific page. A page about experiments done on Danzo. "Kitsune, have a look at this," she said, giving him the file. A slight smirk appeared on his face that was not visible because of the mask. The next few pages were fully filled with information about Danzo's arm and eye. Kitsune stood up and started knocking on the walls, coming to a halt when he found a hollow one. "Ino-chan, a little help?" he said, gesturing towards the wall. "Gladly. Earth style. Stone fist jutsu," she said, smashing the wall with her stone fist. The two saw a shelf that had a lot of Uchiha eyes. Each pair was in a separate jar with a preservative fluid inside to keep them ready for him whenever he wanted to use them. The shelf also contained detailed files on all of the members of the Akatsuki. Just as he was about to start reading them, the small seal on his wrist started glowing. "We need to get out of here. Nico and Suzume have finished," Kitsune said, placing the file on shelf. "But what about all of this information?" Ino asked, handing him back the storage scroll. "Summoning jutsu," he said, biting off his thumb and summoning a toad. "Hey bro, what do you need me for?" The summoned toad asked in a cheery voice. "Kichi, I was hoping if you could take all of this to Mount Mayaboku," he said, forming a wood clone. "Along with my wood clone," Kitsune and Nico had finally cracked how Kitsune could make a wood clone that could provide all the information that it had collected as soon as it was dispersed. Sure, Gamakichi said as Kitsune's clone started to seal all of that up. Ino-chan, please don't tell anyone about the information that we found as long as Danzo is alive, he said, and received a nod in response. Ino knew that Danzo had a set of eyes and ears everywhere in Konoha, and she understood his request. The two left the room as the wood clone and Gamakichi went to Mount Mayaboku with all of the information and documents. Outside Orochimaru's hideout. What took you so long? Nico asked in an irritated voice. Oh, nothing. Just found something that may help us in the future. Anyway, you look beaten up, Kitsune said, sensing his chakra level. Nico had never used more than half of his chakra reserves in a fight. He had only 1/3 of his chakra left. Killing a Sannin does that to you? Nico replied calmly. No way, you killed Orochimaru? Damn it, I wanted to kill him. Now you have the bragging rights to say that you killed a Sannin instead of me. I am so unlucky, he said in a depressed tone. Dobe, that's what you focusing on? Anyway, did you get any leads to his other hideouts? Nico said, gesturing Kaido and Yamato to come out of hiding. Yeah, these 3 are the most interesting ones, he said, handing Nico a piece of paper. But I'm not sure if you will be able to track them down in your current conditions. I'll probably rest a bit in Konoha and then go find them while you go to renew our treaties, Nico said, giving the piece of paper to Kara. And my cats track them down, he said, and in a poof, the 2 cats disappeared. The 2 then passed on parts of the information to Yamato and left for the Hidden Leaf. The Hidden Leaf, 2 days later. Dobe, you go and report about the mission to Hokage-sama. I am not going to sit there and be bored. And I don't think Suzume wants to come either. Suzume confirmed this with a nod. Fine. I'll handle this myself, Kitsune said with a sigh. Come on, Ino-chan, Yamato-san. With that, the 3 left for Tsunade's office. So Nico, where do you plan on taking me today? Suzume asked in a sing-song voice. Let's go to the Uchiha district, as I don't know how long it'll be before we come to Konoha again. After that, we should go to the mountains where I learnt the Chidori. Fine by me, she replied. The 2 then left for the Uchiha district. They did not spend much time there, but Nico still showed her some places that she hadn't seen last time. Shortly after, the 2 were at the gates of the Uchiha district when a certain pink banshee saw them. Hey, what are you 2 doing here? These are the Uchiha's sacred grounds, she said, approaching them. You are not allowed to be here. We are. If you don't know, I am an Uchiha, so that gives me the permission to enter the Uchiha district, Nico said smugly, flashing his Sharingan. Okay, but you are not an Uchiha, rust head, so get out of here. This is the place belonged to Sasuke-kun. You are not even worthy to step inside the district, Sakura said with her head up high. As soon as she said that, Nico was filled with rage. He didn't know why, but anyone insulting Suzume pissed him off. How dare you talk about Suzume like that? Her red hair is 1,000 times more beautiful than your bubblegum pink. Nico spat. After hearing Nico compliment her hair, Suzume blushed a bit. And unlike you, she isn't useless or annoying. The only one who is not worthy of entering the Uchiha district is you. Now run away if you want to live, you pink piece of shit. Seeing him enraged, Suzume held his arm with her own, which managed to calm him down. Sakura could sense the killer intent leaking out of him and ran away, pissing her pants in the process. You think my hair is beautiful? Suzume questioned smugly. Nico mentally face-palmed himself after realizing what he had said. Wipe that smirk off your face, Uzumaki. I just said that it was more beautiful than that bubblegum hair. Doesn't change the fact that you think it's beautiful, she replied sassily. Nico let out a groan. Will you let that go? Anyway, let's visit the mountains quickly. We don't have much time before we leave Konoha. With that, the 2 left for the mountains. Gates of the Hidden Leaf, 1.5 hours later. So, do you think that you can find and capture all 3 of them? Kitsune asked. He had already discussed a plan to take down Danzo with Tsunade and Jiraiya in private. He was now heading over to the Hidden Mist and some other allies to renew their treaty, also adding Konoha's name in it. We'll be fine, Anija, Suzume said, assuring her older brother. And if we do run into trouble, we will send one of Nico's cats to you. If you say so, Kitsune muttered. Anyway, capture the three and meet me home in 3 days. The two nodded and took off. Kitsune then took off in the opposite direction. The meeting took place on the second floor of the Uzumaki safe house, which was located near the coast, south from the hidden hot water village. There were 3 people sitting in custom wooden chairs made by Kitsune using his mokuton, wood release, around an elegant triangular table. At the end of each corner of the triangle, a person of Team Yuzu was sitting. They had no masks on, as this was the most secure room in the whole house. The 3 were currently making a plan to get rid of Danzo. To trap him, we will have to lure him out. If we do something to let him know that we have some information that can harm his position in Konoha or get him arrested, he is bound to make a mistake, Aiko said. Her medium-length red hair was tied up in a ponytail, and her once warm brown eyes now held no emotion. She had a score to settle with Danzo. He was the man who had destroyed the lives of her brother and Sasuke. If it wasn't for him, the two would be living in Konoha peacefully. Aiko is right. Danzo is the kind of man who makes a mountain out of a molehill. If he sees a threat, he will do anything in his power to eliminate it, and if we are the threat, he will take extra precautions and make a mistake. That's when we strike, Sasuke said with a smirk on his face. He was still sporting his duck-butt hairstyle and his eyes were glinting with revenge. Sasuke finally had the chance to bring his clan justice. Sasuke had been empathic at times. He wasn't cold-hearted anymore, but Danzo didn't deserve any mercy. That man was responsible for killing off the whole Uchiha clan, including all of the innocent children, and in the end, he blamed it all on Itachi. Both of you might be right, but we need some concrete evidence that will really shake him up. The more worried he is, the more are the chances of him making a mistake, Naruto said. His hair was even longer and messier and looked like a copy of his father's. He had spent days finding everything he could about Danzo in all of the previously made and used Uzumaki safe houses. The Uzumaki had vast libraries, and the number of books and notes written about him were humongous. Some praising him while others criticizing him. He's so many reasons to get rid of Danzo that if he started, it would at least take him a day to get through all of them. I think we might have to contact him. He might have some evidence that might help us. Can't we use some other information or something that doesn't involve him? Sasuke asked. He knew that the man Naruto was talking about was a dangerous one. We have no choice. The information we have is fresh and Danzo can easily cover it up and make us look like fools. Naruto said he was clearly not pleased with this idea, but they had to do this. He was the one that been there during the war. We need to meet up with Shintaro. Fine. But it would be better if you two went. I remember pissing him off last time. Till then I will go through Orochimaru's files on the Uchiha and his experiments to get the Sharingan, and I am also thinking of offering a pair of Sharingan to Kara. She has been loyal to me, and cats are the only ones that can handle the Sharingan like the Uchiha. He said. He had already been thinking about what to do with all of the pairs of Sharingans Naruto and Ino had found in Orochimaru's hideout. Okay. Guess a ninja and I will have to make the old man give us some information. Sounds fun, Aiko said sarcastically. With that, Naruto and Aiko left for the Hidden Valleys village and Sasuke ended up in Soraku, where he also tried to get some information out of Danzo's men that he had captured on their last mission. Time skip. A town present in the land of rivers. Numeta was a small town which was known for its celebration of festivals and delicious rice. The rice grown here was so good that the sake made from it sometimes cost a fortune. Numeta was a bit far away from the village hidden in the valleys. The town was present in between Konoha, Suna, and Kumo, so it was pretty crowded during certain times of the year. In one of the shikudo, or casual restaurants, 2 ordinary-looking people were sitting and enjoying the restaurant's famous donbori, a rice bowl with custom toppings, with a side of makazushi, the rolled sushi. The small restaurant was almost empty as people had already finished their lunch by 4 in the afternoon. The rice here is made different. People weren't kidding when they said that this place had the best rice in the place. The girl said, placing a roll of makazushi in her mouth. You are right about that. I can't wait to make Nico jealous by hyping up this place. The boy said, finishing off his bowl of donbori. Are you enjoying yourself, Suzume? He asked, looking up from his bowl and moving onto his plate of makazushi. He originally wanted to eat ramen, but changed his mind and decided to try something new. I like moments like these when we can just sit and talk like normal siblings, she said after chewing her last roll of makazushi. I know, but life isn't that simple. Once all of this is over, we will spend more time together as siblings, he said. He found himself repeating that sentence again. Once all of this is over. He had said that same sentence to the girl he loved, his mother figure, his godfather, and now his sister. That was one his many dreams. He wanted to spend more time as a son, a brother, and a loving boyfriend instead of staying in the dark all the time. He was happy with his current life, but it wasn't the life that he dreamt of. Maybe getting rid of Danzo might clear a little of this mess up, he thought. He quietly finished his makazushi and ordered 2 cups of tea for Suzume and himself. Anija, he's here, Suzume said, finishing her tea and putting her cup down. A minute later, an old man walked past them and sat in the last booth. For 30 on the dot, the two thought immediately they had studied his schedule and planned accordingly. The boy finished his tea and paid the bill. The two then walked to the lat booth and sat down on the seat across the old man. The old man's eyes were closed, as to trick people into thinking that he was asleep. Can I help you too? The man asked, opening one of his eyes. I believe you can, Shintaro, the boy said. The old man opened his eyes and put his hands on the table, interlocking his fingers with each other. As soon as he heard his name, he knew that they were here for business. We need information on Danzo. The boy paused, waiting for an answer, but when he received none, he continued on. We need to know what happened that night during the war. I believe you have come to the wrong place, the old man said without a change in his expression. I know that you know what happened that night, Shintaro, Suzume said. Okay, but what's in it for me? The man questioned, leaning back with a smirk on his face. 500,000 Ryo. The boy did not receive an answer, so he knew that he had to use his negotiation skills. And the public humiliation of Danzo along with his death. Come on, old man. Wouldn't you want the man who gave you that to get what he deserves? The boy said, pointing towards the scar on the old man's face. The old man's eyes lit up. Fine. 1,000,000 Ryo and public humiliation of Danzo and his death. The boy nodded in agreement. Were you two followed? He asked, leaning towards them. The two shook their heads. For the next 10 minutes, Shintaro gave them all of the information that he had about Danzo and evidence for Danzo's actions that night. After that, the boy handed the old man a scroll containing 1,000,000 Ryo and the two left the restaurant, taking takeout for Nico. As soon as they were away from the town, they both took of the seal tags present on their hands and turned into their original selves with their masks on. They had used Kitsune's special henge tags for this mission. With this, they were a bit closer to their targets. Time skip. The Uzumaki safe house. This information is gold, Sasuke said, looking up from the file. The three were present in the same room again, only this time they had answers. If we just send him this photograph, he'll be shaking in his boots, he said, passing the picture to the two. Yeah. And if we threaten to pass this information to Konoha if he doesn't comply with our demands, he will do anything, Aiko said with a devilish grin. We should ask him for money. 12,000,000 Ryo? Naruto asked. After receiving a nod of confirmation, he continued. We should call him somewhere far from Konoha so that he cannot call for backup. Any suggestions? Sasuke, I have a place in mind. The bridge between the land of fire and the land of lightning, Sasuke said, getting up. I'll send one of my cats to carry the message. I'll send one of my toads to Bachan with all of our leverage on the civilian council and the village elders and ask her to arrest all of them while Danzo is gone. With that, the three left to train. They knew that defeating Danzo might not be easy, so they had a lot to prepare for. One thing was sure. They were going to change Konoha for the better in the coming week. The next day, a black cat was standing at the entrance of the root organization ruled by Danzo. She knocked out some of the guards and entered the root. Her new Sharingan were activated. She quickly found Danzo's room and passed all of the security on her way there. She then placed the letter on Danzo's desk and was reverse summoned back to Soraku. A few minutes later, the old war hawk entered his office, with a smile on his face. He had just had an idea which could help him overthrow Tsunade and become the 6th Hokage. As soon as he saw the letter, he noticed a cat paw stamp with the Uchiha crest in the middle. Out of curiosity, he opened the letter. As soon as he opened the letter, all of the color drained from his face. He saw the photograph of him on that night years ago. He continued reading, and after finishing, he came to a conclusion. He had to kill Team Yuzu. They knew too much about. He immediately called his right-hand man, Fu Yamanaka. The orange head entered the room, with no expression on his face. He had learned to suppress his emotions ever since he was 8. "At your service, Danzo-sama," he said, bowing down. "Rise, Fu." Danzo said, giving him a stern look. "I want Toryun, Kairi, and you to come with me on an execution mission. If we want to make Konoha the greatest nation of all, we have to do this." Danzo lied. He just didn't want his secrets to be revealed. The Hokage must not know about any of this. Fu nodded in agreement. He had learnt not to question Danzo a while ago. "Prepare for the mission. We leave in 3 days," he said, dismissing the Yamanaka. On one side, Danzo was infuriated, while on the other side, Tsunade was rejoicing. She had gotten a letter from Kitsune which would lead to the arrest of the village elders and the civilian council. She had already asked Shizune to look for a new civilian council. Now all she had to do was wait for 3 days. These 3 days might be the longest 3 days of her life, but she didn't care as long as she could save the Konoha and its future. She took out a bottle from her special stock and decided to get drunk on this occasion. At the Uzumaki house, the 3 ninjas were fully concentrated on their training. They had to be at their best when they faced off against Danzo. Flashback a few months back. Can't sleep, can't sleep. Aiko was standing in the kitchen of the Uzumaki safe house, pouring herself a glass of apple juice. She was dressed in plain white t-shirt and blue shorts. Her face clearly showed that she was tired. "Want a glass?" she asked, turning around and facing Sasuke. He nodded and she poured him one. "Hungry?" Sasuke asked, walking towards the kitchen counter and picking up his glass. He was wearing an olive green shirt with the small Uchiha crest on the back along with black joggers. He had no expression on his face. "Nah. Just need to get my mind off of some things," she answered truthfully, sipping some apple juice. She just had a nightmare about her past. "Oh," he said, taking a sip. He could see that she had been sleeping, but had recently woken up from her tired expression. He also understood that the girl didn't want to talk about it, so he didn't ask her. And Naruto had to go on an escort mission as the Mizukage had personally requested him. So he made it his job to cheer up the tomato head. "I know a way to get rid of those thoughts. Follow me," he said, finishing his glass of apple juice and leaving the kitchen. Aiko finished her own glass and followed him. Sasuke finally stopped as soon as he reached the training grounds in front of the house. "So you want to train in the middle of the night?" Aiko asked, raising her eyebrow. Sasuke gave a small chuckle in response. Sasuke had started showing his emotions in front of the people he trusted instead of holding them in. "No, you can't just train all the time. Your body also needs rest," he said, sitting down. "This training ground is facing the sea, so it receives cold breeze during the night, and it's a nice place to talk. Whenever I want to get my minds off of things, I come here and talk to my cat, Kara, because if I talk with Naruto, he won't even give me a chance to speak as soon as he opens his mouth." Aiko chuckled. As much as she loved her brother, she knew that once he starts talking, there's no stopping him. "Luckily, I happen to be a great listener and I want to know more about you. After all, you are our team member," he said, gesturing for the redhead to sit down next to him. "So we are going to tell each other things that we think the other doesn't know, right?" Aiko asked, sitting down. She did not know a lot about Sasuke because, unlike her brother who was an open book, Sasuke didn't talk that much about his likes and stuff. "You go first," she said, tilting her head a bit to look at the older male. "Okay. Black and blue were my favorite colors, but recently I've been attracted to olive green," he said, not wanting to start with anything that might remind her of her nightmare. "My favorite one is probably sky blue. Before becoming a Rouge Ninja, I was a stuck-up brat." Sasuke admitted. I am not surprised, she said with a smile in a teasing tone. Before you guys found me, I actually used to escort people that were transporting goods. They didn't pay that much, but it was enough for me. I used to have a dog named Shiro who hated me a lot and one day bit me. So I, being the stuck-up avenger, tried to drown him. He admitted. He did not know why, but talking to Aiko felt so natural. No way. You killed a dog just because he bit you? Her eyes widened slightly. You're evil, Sasuke, she said jokingly. Hey, I tried to kill him, but that dog knew how to swim. And in my defense, he bit me first, and a 6-year-old Sasuke does not like being bitten, he said, slightly pouting. He had rarely pouted before and had stopped pouting since the Uchiha massacre. But while talking to Aiko, all of the walls that he had built were breaking one by one. Anyway, did you have a pet before? Yeah, I did. I had a black horse named Uchiha, who I had won in a fair in the land of lightning once, she said, remembering her first friend. He was one fast horse. When we were not escorting anyone, we used to ride to our next destination at his top speed. Oh, what happened to him? Sasuke asked before he could stop himself. He already knew the answer. Aiko talked about him in the past tense, so that either meant that he was stolen or dead. He was killed by some ninjas while I was escorting some people to the land of Earth a year ago, she said with a sad smile. At first I didn't accept his death, but as time passed by I finally made peace with it. Aiko, Sasuke whispered. He now felt a bit bad for asking her that question. He took her hand in his and rubbed the back of her hand with his thumb. I'm sure he's in a better place now. Yeah, Aiko said, remembering the memories of her late horse. I learnt my first jutsu when I was 7, she said, changing the topic. Guess I beat you to it, Sasuke said with a smirk. I learnt my first jutsu when I was 5. It's not my fault orphanages don't teach jutsus until the kids are 9, she replied sassily. Wait, you said that you learnt your first jutsu when you were 7, not 9, he asked, raising his eyebrow in confusion. I ran away from the orphanage when I was 7. I was always hated for my weird red hair and no one wanted to adopt me. So instead of sitting around waiting to turn 13, I decided to run away. I picked up some simple jutsus for self-defense on my way. You were a badass. And to be honest, your hair looks good. I have seen people with worse hair colors. Sasuke whispered. He actually liked the color of her hair a lot. It always reminded him of a ripe and sweet tomato. My life was much simpler compared to yours. I was the best student in the academy. I had a lot of fangirls, and despite what people say, having fangirls is not easy at all, and had dreams of owning a tomato farm and a restaurant that just serves the best tomato and rice dishes. You just had to mention the fangirls, Aiko said, slightly nudging his shoulder in a playful manner. She was getting so sleepy that she was barely able to keep her eyes open, but she didn't want this to end, so she was trying her best to stay awake. Of course, he said with one of his real smiles. He didn't know why, but he was feeling a warm feeling in his chest. He just couldn't explain why. Do you have a goal for the future, Aiko? I don't know. But right now I am going to focus on helping Ninja achieve his dream, she said in a soft voice. She leaned on Sasuke's shoulder and closed her eyes. Until I find my goal. Till then I want to help the two of you achieve peace, she said with a yawn before falling asleep on his shoulder. Night, Sasuke, she murmured. Maybe it was the tiredness that made her do it, as she wouldn't even dream of doing it in real life. Sasuke waited for a few minutes before checking whether Aiko was asleep. When he was sure that the redhead had fallen asleep, he picked her up gently, handling her carefully as if she glass, and carried her up to her bedroom. He struggled to open the door as he was carrying her with one of his hands under her legs and the other supporting her back. Once he was inside her room, he gently laid her on her bed and tucked her in. He then turned around and left the room, but before closing the door he whispered, "Night, Aiko." With that he closed that door. Flashback end. Near the bridge between the land of fire and the land of lightning. So what's our game plan, Ninja? Suzume asked. The three were currently hiding in a tree, waiting for Nico's cat, Kara's signal. I have a plan. We attack, kill Danzo, and hopefully come back alive. As soon as Kitsune said this, the two face-palmed. That is our mission, not the plan, Dobe. Nico said, rubbing the part of his mask where his forehead was. Why of all times you're becoming a dumbass now? Hey, it's not my fault. I haven't had decent ramen in a week. How do you expect me to come up with a plan? And we also don't even know the number of people Danzo is bringing. Kitsune complained. Then in a poof, a black cat appeared on Nico's shoulders. Nico-sama, Danzo has arrived. Along with him, there are 3 additional ninjas. Kara said, to which she received a nod. Do you want me to stay with you during the fight? Thank you, Kara, and there's no need for you to stay. Though if I need you, I'll summon you. The cat nodded and disappeared back to Soraku. We may not have a plan, but we know a lot about Danzo. Just be careful not to kill the 3 other ninja. Knock them out and either Nico or I will reverse summon them. Kitsune said in a serious voice. Just remember, we have trained for years just to get here and no matter what we have to succeed today, he said, motivating the 2 a bit. With that, the 3 left the tree and set out for the bridge. The 3 arrived and sat on one of the poles at the beginning of the bridge. Danzo, you and I both know that we aren't here to negotiate. You want to kill us and we want to kill you. So let's just get to it. Kitsune said from the top of the pillar. His blonde hair was flowing due to the wind and he had a serious expression on his face under the mask. His warm azure blue eyes had become icy cold just like Minato's. Fo, Toryun, Kairi. As soon as Danzo said this, 3 ninjas with Umbu Amur surrounded him in a triangular formation. Danzo threw his walking stick on the ground and began to remove his hand from the sling. Cover me. I am releasing the seal from my right hand, he said, revealing a bandaged-up hand with 3 copper seals. The 3 nodded and rushed towards Team Yuzu. The team split up, taking 1 person each. Nico went after Fu, Kitsune went after Toryun, and Suzume went after Kairi. As soon as Kitsune and Toryun came face to face, Toryun threw a bunch of kunai at Kitsune, which he dodged by doing a series of somersaults. Toryun then threw a kunai at Kitsune's head, which went through the after image left behind after Kitsune had shunshined. Seeing this, Toryun used his teeth to take off the gloves on his hands before Kitsune could attack him. 3 shuriken flew at Toryun's head, which he managed to dodge, but one of them sliced through the side of the mask, covering the upper half of his face. He ran towards Kitsune, aiming a kick at his head, which Kitsune dodged by ducking and sending Toryun behind him. Toryun smirked and punched Kitsune's back with his purple hands. The purple insects from his hands covered Kitsune's body and started to devour him. A second later, Kitsune fell down, unconscious, and his chakra was fully drained. Toryun then walked over to him to cut off his head. Insects that corrode your cells from the moment you're touched. Danzo, you've got some good subordinates, Kitsune said loudly from behind Toryun. Toryun turned around in shock. He had just seen his insects devour Kitsune, and he was sure that it was not a shadow clone. He turned back to where Kitsune's body was supposed to be, only to find a wood statue of Kitsune. Kitsune had replaced himself with a wood clone when he shunshined away to test his theory. The clone deliberately let Toryun touch him, hence confirming Kitsune's theory. I'll get you next time, Toryun said, removing his layer of clothing, and as soon as he did that, the purple insects covered his whole body, including his face. Suddenly, Kitsune appeared in front of him, placing a hand with tailed beast chakra on Toryun's shoulder. In an instant, Toryun was absorbed into Kitsune's seal, and his insects did not affect Kitsune because of the 9 tails chakra, which burnt every one of them that jumped onto Kitsune's hand. Nico and Fu engaged in combat right away. Fu's flat-tipped sword against Nico's single-handed katana. Fu was going on offense and was taking every opportunity he could get to land a critical hit on Nico. Nico, however, knew that he could not waste a lot of chakra here, so he defended against Fu's attacks flawlessly, not even leaving a scratch on his body. Fu then threw some smoke bombs to create a diversion so he could use his mind transfer jutsu. He began making a circle with his finger, but before he could use the jutsu, he saw a pair of Sharingan. The 3 Tomios spinning into life, and he was effortlessly put under Nico's most powerful Jinjutsu. Before he could spike his chakra and cancel out the Jinjutsu, he was knocked out by the hilt of Nico's sword. Summoning Jutsu, Nico yelled, summoning a huge cat tail which wrapped around Fu's unconscious body and reverse summoned him to Soraku. Kairi ran behind Suzume until they were far from the bridge. As soon as they were far enough, Suzume stopped and turned around. Suzume's hazel eyes glared into Kairi's gray that glared back. Both of them were ready for the battle. Kairi was the strongest of the three. The only reason that she was not acknowledged by Danzo was due to her inability of having a Kekii Genkai. She wanted to defeat Suzume and wanted to show Danzo that she could defeat one of the most feared ninjas without a Kekii Genkai. A kunai appeared in Kairi's hand while Suzume had a blade in hand. The both of them engaged in a series of blows, but Suzume had a slight edge due to the length of her blade. After a couple of seconds, both of them began to get frustrated due to not landing a single hit on the other's body. Getting tired of not landing a hit on Kairi, Suzume did a somersault and threw her blade in the air. She flashed through a bunch of hand signs before taking in a deep breath. She then spat out a stream of chakra-infused gunpowder from her mouth, which surrounded the region around Kairi. Kairi's eyes widened. Fire style. Burning ash. She thought substituting herself with a rock nearby just in time. If she would have been even a second late, she would have blown up. The explosion blew the rock to pieces, which flew around the two with a lot of smoke surrounding the area, making it harder for Kairi to see. As Kairi stayed on guard until the smoke had disappeared, Suzume flash-stepped away, formulating a plan. When fighting against a difficult opponent, before fighting against a formidable foe, create a distraction and formulate a plan to defeat the opponent using as little chakra as possible. You can even think of ramen as your treat if you win to provide some extra motivation while fighting. Her ninja had told her during training. Even though Kitsune had a careless and joking personality, he was really strict while training Suzume. He would go all out on her without using the Kyuubi's chakra and would never allow her to give up. As much as he wanted to go easy on her because she was his sister, he couldn't, as it could land her in trouble with a tough opponent. He wanted to make her as strong as he was, maybe even stronger, and going easy on her wouldn't let that happen. Remembering Kitsune's words, she began formulating a plan. A few seconds later, a smirk appeared on her face. She had a plan. As soon as the smoke cleared, Suzume charged at Kairi with her blade in hand. This time it was different. Suzume had removed some of her resistance seals, which Kitsune had placed on her, which made her much faster. Unlike last time, Kairi couldn't go on attack and had to defend against Suzume's attacks using two kunais. Suddenly, a kunai flew past Suzume with an explosive seal on. Suzume jumped backwards while Kairi jumped sideways, her eyes on Suzume. This was where Suzume made her move. She threw a poisoned senbon at Kairi from where she was hiding before Kairi could notice it. The senbon had a paralyzing poison which would also put the person into deep sleep for at least 32 hours. The last thing that Kairi saw was the Suzume she had been fighting poof out of existence. Shadow clone, she thought before falling into deep slumber. Suzume then came out of her hiding spot, tied Kairi using special chakra-infused ropes to a nearby tree, and then put a barrier around the tree just to be careful. As soon as Kitsune had finished his fight against Toryun, he shunshined in front of Danzo. He glanced sideways to see Suzume leading Kairi away and Nico draw out his blade against Fu's flat-tipped one. Danzo dropped his metal seals and began to remove the thin bandages covering his arm. Meanwhile, Kitsune was having a mental conversation with Kurama. Kurama, watch out for his genjutsus, he has Shirsue's eye and you know that I'm weak in them. Okay, Kit. Do you want my chakra? The tailed beast asked, getting up. No, I want to see how much damage I can do to him without your chakra, Kitsune said before exiting his mindscape. Once Danzo had fully removed all of the bandages, a white arm with multiple sharingans was in place of his regular right arm. Kitsune immediately recognized the cells of that arm. He already knew about the sharingans, but Orochimaru had not specified what cells he had used. How did you get my ancestors' cells? Kitsune asked. His voice was laces with Kurama's malice. The thought that Danzo had disrespected his ancestors by robbing their grave made his blood boil. It's a long story, Danzo said, making some hand signs and activating the Izanagi. He then ran forward at his maximum speed, swinging his hand to land a powerful hit on Kitsune. His blow landed, but Kitsune didn't even move. He looked down and saw that there was a shield of wood protecting the part of Kitsune's body where Danzo had landed a hit. Danzo's eyes widened in surprise and his mouth was hung open. The blow was powerful enough to break a whole wall, but it didn't even leave a crack on the wood. Natural wood style. Now I see how he knew that my arm had cells of the first Hokage. Danzo thought, jumping back in defense. To his surprise, Kitsune had already summoned a tree right behind him, which started to wrap its branches around Danzo's body. Danzo tried to cut down as many branches as he could, but he couldn't stop the tree from wrapping itself around him. Kitsune had used the wood style, tree bind eternal burial. It was a stronger version of Gaara's sand coffin, made using trees. Kitsune was excited to see what trick Danzo had to escape this. The tree fully covered Danzo and compressed him to death. Some blood splattered on the ground and Kitsune felt Danzo's chakra signature go out. There was a feeling in his gut that told him that there was something fishy. An opponent like Danzo, who was feared all over the shinobi nations, would not be this easy to kill. A second later, he was proved right. He felt Danzo's chakra signature reappear, but this time it was behind him. He turned around to find the old war hawk smirking. A kunai slipped down Danzo's sleeve and into his palm. He ran forward with the intention of stabbing Kitsune, but once again, a piece of wood shielded him. Danzo's kunai broke as soon as it came in contact with the chakra-infused wood. Just as I thought would style. The famous Kekkei Genkai of the first Hokage. That splendid chakra-infused wood to defend yourself. It's no doubt that you are a sand dash. Before Danzo could continue, he was hit by a gigantic wooden hand, created by Kitsune without using any hand signs. It was smaller version of Hashirama's wood style, Laughing Buddha Jutsu. Danzo was smashed into the bridge and Kitsune felt his chakra signature disappear. His chakra signature reappeared and he was standing on a column which was to Kitsune's right. Another giant wooden hand appeared and punched the spot of the column where Danzo was standing, blowing the whole column up. Danzo jumped just before the hand hit him and landed in front of Kitsune. Kitsune's first hand punched the part of the bridge where Danzo was standing, causing destruction, but missing Danzo. Danzo jumped up high using his chakra to send himself flying. What he didn't notice was one of Kitsune's clones was just behind him. Danzo turned around to see Kitsune's clone with a Raisin Shuriken in hand. Before he could do anything, the Raisin Shuriken ripped his body into two. Kitsune felt Danzo's chakra disappear again. Danzo's chakra signature reappeared behind Kitsune. Kitsune turned around, but Danzo was prepared. As soon as Kitsune turned around, Danzo fired a bunch of wind-style vacuum bullets at Kitsune, which he barely managed to avoid by jumping up by pumping up his chakra in his feet. While he was in the air, 2 bullets managed to graze him. One grazed his neck while the other grazed his shoulder. Kitsune cursed under his breath. He knew that Kurama would heal him, but he didn't want Danzo to have the satisfaction of landing a hit on him. Before he landed, he saw one of the Sharingans in Danzo's arm close and realized that the Sharingans had something to do with him not dying. I knew that I couldn't capture you or the Uchiha, so I decided to capture your sister. She is the weakest in the group after all. But now once I kill you, they'll capture her and do unimaginable things to her until she tells me all of the information and gives me the location of all of your safe houses. After that, I'll pass her along to my subordinates who will have fun with the girl. Danzo said smugly. He knew that Suzume was a sore spot for Kitsune, but he needed to get into Kitsune's head fast or else he wouldn't be able to come out of this alive. But he didn't know that he was unconsciously digging up his own grave. What did you say? Kitsune snarled. His voice was low but deadly. His blue eyes turned into deep red with vertical slits and his whisker marks under the mask had become thicker. You keep my sister's name out of your fucking filthy mouth. You sick son of a bitch. He was covered in 1 tael worth of Kurama's chakra. The chakra was so powerful that it broke the mask covering his face and now he only had the Kakashi-style mask covering half of his face. Before Danzo could even react, he had a fist in his face that broke most of his teeth away. He tried to get up, but he never saw Kitsune's blow coming. The blonde tackled him hard, breaking some of his ribs. For the next few seconds, Danzo couldn't do anything. His eye couldn't match Kitsune's speed and Kitsune didn't give him the time to remove the bandages covering Shirsue's Sharingan. Danzo was seeing God at this point, he was literally seeing God. He was being beaten so hard that he was looking at the inside of his brain. After Kitsune was done with Danzo, he was dead with more than 100 broken bones in his body. His chakra signature disappeared again, and Kitsune took this time to calm himself down and switch back to his chakra, returning what was left of the one tail back to Kurama. His eyes changed back to blue and his whiskers returned to normal. "It's useless," Danzo said, from atop another column at the middle of the bridge. He decided not to say anything about Suzume as he still remembered the beating from last time. The thought of that sent shivers down his spine. Just as Kitsune was about to unsheath his katana, Nico arrived in front of him. "I'll take care of him now," Nico said, turning to Kitsune, his obsidian black eyes spinning into the 3 Tomioed Sharingan and then into the Mangekyo Sharingan. Kitsune nodded in agreement and shunshined away. As much as he wanted to beat Danzo up, he knew that Nico had a score to settle as well. Nico up at Danzo, activating his genjutsu. Black blobs of ink appeared to separate from his body, turning into cats. The black cats started running up the pillar, and all Danzo could see was a red terrain which had a single moon and black cats surrounded him. Danzo was tied to a stump and all the cats started to eat him, tearing off his flesh. Then appeared the one of the men whose life Danzo had ruined, Itachi Uchiha. Danzo dispelled the genjutsu along with his Izanagi and jumped down from the pillar and in front of Nico. Before reaching down, he activated his Izanagi once again. "So, you are related to Itachi, but you lack his skills in genjutsu. He is still the best genjutsu user," Danzo said, while Kitsune watched this from atop the pillar at the end of the bridge. "I'll ask this once, Danzo, is it true that Itachi eliminated my clan following orders that were given to him by you and the Leaf Elders?" Nico said in a calm voice. He knew that it was true, but he still wanted to hear it from the person who had caused it all. After not getting an answer, he ran out of patience. "I asked you if it's true," he shouted, and a skeletal green hand made out of pure chakra appeared. The hand caught Danzo in his fist before he could react. The hand started to squeeze the life out of Danzo. "I didn't think that he was that kind of man," Danzo said, spitting out blood. "Curse him, he told you everything. I didn't think that Itachi was the kind of man who would betray his village by spilling the secrets entrusted to him," Danzo said as he struggled against Nico's hold. "That means it's true then," Nico said, his voice full of anger. His Susanu's skeleton hand changed into a much humanoid form, and the Susanu's upper body began forming. The rest of his body was a skeleton except the hand that was holding Danzo. He formed a waist-length Susanu, and then the hollow eyes in its skull lit up. "It's not just Itachi, countless shinobi have died the same way. It's thanks to them that peace is still maintained," Danzo said, coughing up some more blood. "Still, Itachi revealed the secrets to you, which means that he's a traitor." As soon as Nico heard those words, he tightened the hold around Danzo with the intention of killing him. But when he smashed Danzo, a boulder was snapped into rocks. "Substitution," Nico thought as his Susanu disappeared. Danzo appeared behind him, throwing a bunch of wind chakra-enhanced shuriken at Nico. Nico managed to dodge the first one and then took out his katana. He then put the blade of the sword through the hole of the second shuriken, changing its direction and deflecting Danzo's third shuriken with it, which went flying. He then threw the shuriken back at Danzo, which Danzo deflected using his fourth shuriken. Nico came running towards him with the intention of stabbing him with his sword. At the last moment, Danzo used his hand to grab Nico's neck, choking him, but he didn't see his third shuriken that Nico had sent flying to come at him. The shuriken cut off Danzo's right arm, and then Nico slashed Danzo's chest with his katana. Nico quickly removed the seal that Danzo had placed on him while Danzo had grabbed his neck. Kitsune had placed much more powerful seals on him, so removing the seal was a child's play. Before Danzo could reappear, he shunshined to the column that Danzo was standing on before so that he could spot Danzo easily. He then begun forming his Susanu again, but this time it was not just the skeleton of the upper body, but the muscles and fibers started to appear too. The Susanu had arm fins and shoulder fins, and his face was like that of a sea monster. The Susanu had a crossbow in one hand and had knight armor on. Danzo appeared again, this time on his knees. Even though the Izanagi was keeping him alive, he could still feel the pain when he died. As soon as Danzo appeared, he loaded his crossbow with an arrow. His aiming right at me. Can't weave the signs, Danzo thought as he was halfway through weaving his hand signs. Seems I have no choice, he said, extending his right shoulder. Just as Nico shot the arrow, a tree grew out of his shoulder and the arrow pierced right through it, missing Danzo. Danzo took this opportunity to run at Nico. Nico had already reloaded another arrow and shot it right through the running man's chest. Danzo coughed up some blood and then his just vanished. He reappeared seconds later running towards Nico again. That is when Nico finally realized Danzo's jutsu. He had learnt about it in Soraku with Nikoba. The jutsu was a forbidden jutsu even among the Uchiha, the Izanagi. Danzo then fired off a wind-style, vacuum great sphere at Nico and was able to knock the Susanoo back a few meters, but then a drill type of long sword began forming in the Susanoo's hand. Before Danzo could defend himself, he was pierced by the sword and killed instantly. He reappeared where the tree that had grown out of his hand was standing. That Kitsune, there's very little chance that he'll join the battle, Danzo thought, glancing at the blonde who was comfortably sitting on the pillar at the end of the bridge, enjoying a bowl of steaming ramen. Though it appeared that the blonde was ignorant, he was ready to jump into the battle any second that he was needed, but for now he decided to enjoy the show. But I can't take any chances. I must keep enough power preserved to fight him. It'll be some time before my right eye recovers, as I used it recently to erase the memory of a root umbu who had found about some of my secrets. However, fighting the Susanoo won't be easy either. Its attacks are very difficult to dodge, Danzo thought, looking at the green half-sea monster. I can't undo my Izanagi yet. He then slipped his finger into one of his wounds. I have to finish things this minute, he finally concluded. Summoning jutsu, he said, summoning a large animal that was a mixture of an elephant and a tiger. The animal turned to Nico and started sucking everything into its mouth. Taking advantage of this, Danzo appeared behind Nico and began pushing him along with his Susanoo, using the wind style. Great breakthrough. The summoning had started to tear off pieces of the Susanoo and sucking it into its mouth. The summoning, it's the Baku, a monster that feeds on nightmares. It's a lot larger than I imagined, Kitsune said before slurping some noodles. The force applied was not affecting him in any way, so he decided not to move and spill some of the ramen accidentally. Danzo had the advantage now. Wind style. Vacuum blast barrage, he said, running even closer to Nico. The attack tore away the layer of flesh of the Susanoo, leaving behind its skeleton. This is it. The weak part of the Susanoo, he thought. Boil style. Solid fog jutsu, Suzume said, entering the battle. She fired off a cloud of highly acidic mist towards the unprepared Danzo, melting him immediately. She had learnt this from the Mizukage while she was in the mist. She then turned to the monster. Fire style. Great fire annihilation, she said, shooting out literal sea of flames from her mouth. The pinnacle of Uchiha fire release techniques. She had used the Baku's inhalation against itself. The Baku now had inhaled a huge amount of fire and his mouth and head were on fire. Unable to bear the pain, he returned back to where he was summoned to with a satisfying poof. Kitsune was looking calm on the outside, but from the inside he was cheering for his sister. Nico's Susanoo disappeared and some blood slipped through his lips. Using the Susanoo was a super fast, super strong jutsu, but it took a great amount of chakra. Suzume headed over to him and they were standing with their backs touching and faces facing in the opposite direction, scanning the bridge for Danzo. Guess I saved your ass, Uchiha, she said, panting. Switching between two chakra natures that needed to exhale a large amount of air left very little air in her lungs. Don't get too arrogant. When you fight him for as long as I have been, you won't be smiling, he said, wiping the blood off his face using his sleeve. Danzo reappeared, but this time, he appeared close to Kitsune and ran at him with his kunai in hand, taking advantage that the blonde was eating. He made a huge mistake by thinking that it would be easy to take down Kitsune just because he was busy. He jumped over the column and Kitsune merely glanced at him before summoning 4 shurikens from the seal on his hand and throwing it at Danzo, without even glancing at him and balancing the bowl of ramen and the chopsticks in one hand. The 4 shurikens hit 4 of Danzo's vital points. He grunted in pain before falling down. Just because I'm eating does not mean that I'm not paying attention. You should have just been happy that I left you to fight with Nico alone after your last beating. Feel free to attack me again if you want a repeat. Kitsune said before Danzo's chakra signature disappeared and he died. Again, this time Danzo appeared right in front of Suzume and Nico. The 2 ninjas split up and sprinted in opposite directions, not wanting to fall into any of Danzo's traps. Danzo went after the raven because his chakra reserves were the lowest among the 2 from using the Susanoo. As soon as he caught up with Nico, the raven faced him, his katana in his hand covered in blue lightning chakra. Danzo took out a kunai and laced it with his wind chakra, creating a chakra blade. The 2 ran at each other with the intent of stabbing the other, and their blades passed through each other. Danzo's blade passed through Nico's lower lung, puncturing, and Nico's blade went through Danzo's heart, killing him. A few seconds later, Danzo vanished. As soon as he vanished, Nico started healing his wounds using his medical ninjutsu. Danzo appeared in front of Suzume this time. The girl was in shock, so Danzo decided to use this opportunity. He took out his last kunai and rushed towards her, stabbing her heart and killing her. A lot of blood poured out and there was a poof being heard. Danzo looked down to see that his own chest to a chakra blade sticking through it. Suzume had planned all of this and had counted on him stabbing her shadow clone, while she could stab him from behind. Ironically, the blade that she used was inspired by Danzo's wind chakra blade used earlier. She had just changed the element from wind to boil. That's payback for what you did to my brother, Suzume said, removing the blade. He coughed up blood and decided to use his final Izanagi. To his surprise, it didn't work. He glanced back at his hand to see the last open Sharingan turn into a closed one. My genjutsu may not be as strong as Itachi's is, but it sure does work, Nico said, appearing in a shunshin. Danzo started running away from the 2. Blood was pouring from his chest and his mouth. None of the 2 followed him Bakayus. They knew that a certain blonde was already waiting to do that. Kitsune appeared in front of Danzo. Danzo, I will be taking Shursue's eye, Kitsune said, looking Danzo in the eye. Damn it. If only I could have dragged the battle long enough to use Shursue's eye, I would have won, he thought. For the shinobi world and the leaf, I won't let you live, he exclaimed, activating the reverse tetragram seal on his chest. Kitsune quickly drew a seal to cancel out Danzo's seal and placed it on Danzo's chest. Danzo's eyes widened, and before he could even say anything, Kitsune jabbed him in the neck, killing him instantly once and for all. He then removed Shursue's eye and stored it in a scroll. Don't you die on me, damn it, he exclaimed, shaking the dead Danzo with the collar of the shirt. Anija, he is already dead and he was our enemy, Suzume said, appearing with Nico next to Kitsune. I know, Suzume, but I've always wanted to say that line one time to a dying person, he said, getting up and dusting himself. Let's go home. The 3 nodded with a smile on their faces and left for their house in the hidden hot water village.